What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show powered by BetUS. Today, the Blazers win off a buzzer beater by Anfernee Simons as they downed the Nuggets 126-124 in what was a very fun, very eventful game for your Portland Trail Blazers with a ton of narratives coming out of it and a really fun moment for Anfernee Simons as he is playing better lately and looks like his old self and hits, I believe, his first buzzer beater of his career. He's hit game winners before, but not quite a buzzer beater. And not only is it an Anfernee Simons buzzer beater, but it's also on Russell Westbrook. You could not script it up better tonight. This is going to be a fun post-game show. We're going to talk about everything that went down tonight, and we're going to reveal our second edition of our draft big boards. So I'm really looking forward to this stream. Eric, how's it going?
Good. I agree with Calabro on the call. I was getting major Dame versus OKC vibes. I thought Ant was going to take a really bad sidestep three after wasting all the time. Good to see him drive to the basket, and great shot to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is what it sounded like and what it looked like in Moda Center today. Oh, I was supposed to play a video clip. Hold on. There we go. Anyway, that's what it looked like. It was supposed to have audio with it. It had audio with it before the stream. This is the first time I've tried to play a clip from a game, but I had somebody, me and my girlfriend know, sitting courtside with that. And yeah, no audio, but hey, Moda Center was loud. Moda Center was rocking, man, and it's good to see a big moment. But yeah, that's what it looked like. Anfernee Simons hits the between the legs crossover, drives right on Russell Westbrook. Little finger roll flick. It looked like he didn't even have the ball going up with it. But Anfernee Simons has been finishing pretty well this year, and his finishing has continued to get better. You know, he's had his struggles this season, but the struggles have seemed mostly jump shot related. The finishing has been there. The finish, he makes that finish look easy. That's not an easy finish, Eric. The angle he's going at to have the touch, even the way he went up with the ball. He makes some of these weird finishes look easy, and that's part of why he's a special scorer. So Anfernee Simons, game winner. Blazers win. They beat the Nuggets, and they win in a high-scoring game. They put 126 on the board. Now, the Nuggets have struggled this year. They don't look like their old selves. They're definitely not in championship contending form this year, but it's still a pretty good team. The Blazers, after a bit of a layoff, only 2 games in 11 days, their offense looked better. They actually ran a couple things tonight where it was like, man, we should do a little bit more of that. You know, there was a specific play, Anfernee Simons setting a ghost screen for Deni and being the roll man off of it and getting a bucket. Some really good moments of ball movement. Also, we got to talk about the rotation and certain minutes and roles and that sort of thing because the Blazers don't close with their best player in the past month, and he was the best player, I think, for big portions of this game, and that's Deni Avdija. And then you had the 3 centers return today. The Blazers tried out Williams with Klingon, and there's just so much to this game. And I always love it when there's a lot of storylines coming out of a game. It's just a lot of stuff to talk about, man. And first off, Eric, I know you're one of the biggest Ant fans I know, so did you high step throughout the house screaming at the top of your lungs when he made that layup?
No, I'm just chilling this year. Like I said, I'm not getting too high or too low, but it was good to see him not only have a good shooting game, although he didn't shoot the 3 particularly well in the second half, kind of ruined his 3-point percentage for the night, but along with his 28 points, to see him have 10 assists was nice to see it. I think that might be his first double-digit assist game of the season. So good to see him passing the ball well as in this game. Also, in the Blazers as a team, Denver had more assists, but Blazers finished with 29. Definitely take that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought there was multiple possessions where they moved the ball pretty well. There was one play where they ran a pick and roll, swung it to the wing, who then hit the roll man, who then immediately hit the quarter, swung it back up to the wing. They missed the shot, but it was like 5 passes in 3 seconds. And it was like, man, we look like prime San Antonio Spurs. There's a really nice lob pass from Ayton on a short roll to Monty Kamara. There's some really good passing all around this game. I thought they shared the ball well, and your passing always looks better when guys make shots, and the Blazers started missing shots in the fourth quarter. They put up 22 in the fourth after having 30, 36, and 38 in the first 3 quarters. But man, I think they did a good job of manufacturing good shots, and it was less stagnant. And I had a feeling coming out of a lot of time off over the NBA Cup that they might have a couple wrinkles in the half-court offense. And we've lamented the half-court offense and how much of a disaster it's been all season. And you look at a game like this, man, it's not like they shot the 3 ball insanely well. They shot 35% from 3, 16 for 46. That's solid by the Blazers' standards. I think that might be a little bit above average for them, but it's not great. Scoot's 1 for 5. Grant couldn't buy much of a shot, 3 for 10. I guess that's 30%. It's not terrible, but he missed some wide open threes down the stretch, and he was getting wide open threes. And it's one of those things where, man, I thought they did a good job generating some shots. I think part of it is Denver is sorely missing a long, versatile, lengthy defender, and Peyton Watson's really the only guy that fits that mold right now for them outside of Aaron Gordon. But, Aaron Gordon, never really somebody that I have viewed as like you want him guarding a guard. You want him guarding an Anfernee Simons or that sort of thing. So, Denver's missing some stuff defensively. They miss Bruce Brown. They need to find a way to address it. I know Christian Brown's been pretty decent this year, but I don't think he's as good as defensively as Bruce Brown. But overall, man, I mean, you generate good shots, you get good looks. That's what happens. And they get to the line 24 times. They only turn over the ball 10 times. I think that's the most impressive part. 29 assists, 10 turnovers is super impressive.
Yeah, I think when they started blowing the lead, they did get a little too ISO heavy at times. But, man, if Sharpe just hits a few more threes, or I think someone said in chat Jeremy was 4 for 14. I think that's right.
Yeah.
If those guys just hit a couple more kick-out shots, the offense looks pretty good tonight, and we still scored 126 without that. So pretty good overall. I'll take it. And we ran a play out of halftime, Tori. I know you commented on Twitter. Do you want to let us know what happened there?
Oh, the ghost screen?
Yeah.
I don't even know if that was out of halftime. I think that was middle of third. I think it might have been out of a timeout, but
well, we run it. Might have been the ghost screen one then. We ran Anfernee off a double screen for a 3, the first play of the third quarter.
Let me just say this. It's sad that running Anfernee off a double screen is seen as like an accomplishment.
Right.
It's seen as like, wow, we did something other than a dribble handoff. Okay, I just, not to be negative, but it's like, it is kind of sad that we get excited about a freaking staggered screen because it's such a basic thing. But, okay, cool, improvement. The bar's through the floor for the offense, right? So improvement in terms of design is something cool, and it gets a 3. But also there's a play where Deni's handling the ball up top, and Ant goes to set him a pick and roll, and this is why I like Deni. He can handle the ball in pick and rolls despite being a power forward or a small forward. Like, he's kind of positionless. You got guys that can shoot, guys that can move in it. So how many inverted pick and rolls have we seen with a bigger guy and a smaller guy, right? It's not going to be with the center because we don't have a guy like Jokic, but you see Denver do it all the time with Jokic handling the ball and Murray coming and screening for him. And then Murray will peel off that screen and be open and be able to get a good look off of it. Right? And it works really well for Denver because bigger players aren't as used to guarding the ball, especially centers, and getting screened in the pick and roll. They're used to guarding the screener and vice versa. Guys guarding guards aren't as used to defending somebody that's setting a screen in a pick and roll. So, I mean, there's just a little wrinkle we had where Ant comes to set a screen for Deni Avdija, but he slips it, right? A ghost screen is where basically you go up like you're going to set an on-ball screen, a pick and roll, and then you slip out of it right away, right? Because the defense will start to set up to guard the pick and roll, and then you kind of just keep going. You slip it, It's called a ghost screen, and so we run a ghost screen where Ant goes to set a pick and roll for Avdija and then slips the screen down the middle and it's like wide open rolling to the hoop. And I think with a little better spacing, he gets a layup out of that. But Deni, being as tall as he is, can easily hit that pass over the top to somebody like Ant. And it's like, okay, you're getting him downhill going towards the rim. He's an athlete, right? I want to see more of that with like Shaedon Sharpe, because Shaedon Sharpe in that scenario might end somebody's life with a poster. I mean, even guys like Scoot, you know, they're so used, all these guards are so used to playing on the wing and like trying to create one-on-one or create our pick and roll. Like, get them moving. They can get good shots by moving off ball, especially when you got somebody like Deni Avdija who can facilitate things, who can really pass, has some point guard skills, but he's a power forward. So hits Anfernee Simons on this ghost screen. Ant didn't have a shot at the rim, but he turned it into a little like 10-foot fadeaway, and it was nothing but the bottom of the net. And it's just a good little wrinkle, man. It's like that's the type of stuff that we've been asking for. Just be more creative. It's not like you're completely limited by your pieces. You know, people always want to talk about the roster. Deni Avdija is a legitimate piece that you can use. He's kind of like, I view him kind of as a queen on a chessboard, right? Because a queen can do it all. Okay, a queen can move diagonal, sideways, most valuable piece on the chessboard outside of the king, right? Deni Avdija is kind of like the queen because he can be the pick and roll guy. He can set the screen. He can handle the ball in pick and rolls. He can facilitate. He spot up and hit threes. You need to be creative in the way you use Deni Avdija to get some of these other guys going so they're not just having to attack a set defense all the time, which has been the problem all year. So, you know, it's one little wrinkle, and it's not like they, you know, necessarily did like an amazing job with that, but it's like that's the type of progress we need to see. But it's like, wow, you need to have 9 out of 11 days off to implement something like that. You know what I mean? So more of it, please, because it works and it will get these guys easier shots. The offense flows better. It's good. No more dribble freaking handoffs, man. Like, honestly, if I had it my way, they would never run a dribble handoff ever again, simply because they've ran already too much for an entire season in the first 27 games.
Right. I saw a thing with Taylor Jenkins in Memphis, where like he was basically coaching, telling them they weren't allowed to run pick and roll, and the point is he's trying to get them to run more motion, like off ball and stuff, and create offense that way. And I think that stuff like that's going to pay dividends for a team down the road. You're just not relying on the same basic crap all the time. Yeah. So it's nice to see the Blazers kind of implement a few of those things. Now it's still left wondering, you know, you run a couple of actions like 3 or 4 times in this game and they pretty much all work. And then we don't really go back to it. In the fourth quarter, we're just Anfernee Simons dribbling the ball, Shaedon Sharpe dribbling the ball. You know, like that's all we're doing is like spread out the court and let someone go one-on-one or pick and roll or dribble handoff, like we said. And so like I don't understand why we always resort back to it. Fortunately tonight we held on. It didn't cost us the game, but that certainly looked like it was about to cost us the game when Denver took the lead late.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, the defense also in the fourth quarter was a definite problem. They got to play better defense than that in the fourth for sure. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to see little wrinkles in there, and it's tough to talk about this stuff because I have no confidence in Chauncey remaining
right
in this way. Like
next game, it's going to go right back. Yeah,
that's the tough thing. So it's like, okay, nice. In the past, I've been like, ooh, I like this stuff. Hopefully, Chauncey's onto something. And it's like we've seen little like wrinkles here and there from time to time where it's like, that's good stuff, Chauncey. More of it, and then it doesn't last. So you know, I like talking about it because it's good stuff. And I'm trying not to be negative, but I don't have faith that they'll continue to do some of this type of stuff, and that's the tough part, man. And it's why, like, we have hope. After Chauncey's gone, you get a coach that runs more of this stuff, and I think the offense would come a lot easier to somebody like Anfernee Simons because he's just having to create against a loaded defense constantly, man. And he's athletic. He can move. Like, he's quick. He can fly off screens, hit threes, come off curls, get downhill, that sort of stuff. He can even catch a backdoor lob. How many times have we ever seen a backdoor lob even ran for Anfernee Simons? You know, let alone some of the other stuff. So overall, that's the hope in the future where this offense will be better than a bottom 5 offense simply through running more creative stuff that's hard to guard instead of kind of spamming the same old pick and roll and handoffs that they always have. And that's where, you know, Chauncey's here for now. Sure, I'll give him credit when he draws up something nice, but we know it's not going to last. Hopefully, with whoever the next coach is, it does.
Yeah, I was happy they made a concerted effort to get someone involved in running a couple plays. You know, we can question whether that should be Anfernee. I still think we need to do that with Sharpe a little bit more. But I was happy we at least tried to get someone going in this game, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Do you wanna thank the donations?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, let's get caught up. There's just a couple. Shout out to you guys. $5 donation from Oscar says, after I read the article about Sharpe being aggressive and even a little selfish, I knew he was going to have a good game. Loved what I saw, though. I missed that article. There was an article about Sharpe needing to be more aggressive. I mean, I agree. Maybe it's also a confidence thing because he has not been shooting well from 3, and we talked about that a lot on the last post-game show. Today, he shot 2 for 8 from 3. He was 9 for 18 with 4 assists, no turnovers, 27 points, right, on 50% field goal percentage, 7 for 8 from the free throw line. That's good. Like, it was a good scoring night. It was a good scoring night without him shooting the 3 ball well. He's 2 for 8, 25%. But what was he from inside the arc? He was 7 for 10 and got to the line 8 times and also collapsed the defense, had some nice passes. He needs to be more aggressive going downhill. He was in this game. The tough part is when he has better defenders than Denver has on him. Like, can he consistently get downhill? But it's a mindset first where he needs to stop floating and actually push downhill. But I had a thought come across my head in this game, Eric, watching Sharpe play well. And I don't necessarily like I'm just gonna ask a question, okay? And I don't know what the answer is. It's not as bad of a question as you think. It's not as bad of a question as you think. I'm just going to ask
Steven.
No, it's not a Steven question, okay? It's so I don't know what I think the answer to this question is, but in the past we've seen Sharpe like have good stretches. Chauncey starts playing him like heavy minutes and then his play falls off a cliff. We see him come back in like pretty quickly, have 2 huge games, 2 30-point games, and then his play falls off a cliff. Now he's only played 2 games in the past 11 days, comes off this rest, and plays really well. How much of it is like Sharpe gets fatigued too easily over the course of a season and his play slips? Because it just seems like when he's fresh, he plays pretty decently. And the longer he plays for, the more his play falls off a cliff. Like, is there a fatigue issue over the course of multiple games for Shaedon Sharpe? Or is that just like a coincidence? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think last year I would say there definitely is some fatigue when he was playing like the most minutes in the NBA for a stretch. I mean, no one can sustain. He was averaging like 42 minutes a game or something. Like, there's a reason why people don't play that much.
For sure.
Chief says conspiracy, Tori. It's not even a conspiracy. He's just asking if he plays better when he's not as worn down.
Like maybe fatigue is a little bit more of an issue for him than it is with other guys.
Yeah, Henry Thomas in chat makes a good point. He never played college, and so far in the NBA, he's, dealt with injuries and stuff. So in his first year, he came off the bench. He wasn't playing like major minutes until a brief stretch at the end of the season once again, Yeah, I mean, with his injuries, he hasn't really had a huge stretch of games to get his endurance up, I guess. Usually you think about that. It's weird for me to think about that in terms of like guards and stuff because usually you don't have that issue unless they're like overweight or something,
Yeah.
But so I've never really thought of it that way. I mean, other than obviously playing back to backs or things like that. But yeah, I mean, maybe.
It's a tough question because
Mm,
like there's no way of really knowing as just fans of the team.
right. Well,
And there's just like it's like one of those things where it's like I could see that being the case because we've seen some correlation, but it also might not be a thing at all, and it might just be he's 21 years old and just inconsistent.
yeah. Well, we talked a lot about his in his shot mechanics, his legs being off balance a lot, or like his feet not being set right. Um, and if you're tired, that could definitely affect that because we know that's one of the most important things about a jump shot is having your legs balanced and centered and all that kind of stuff. So if you are having tired legs or whatever, I think that definitely could change things. It is interesting though. I think I'm remembering this right. His two games where he broke out
Yeah.
earlier in the season, didn't he not shoot the three well in those games too, though? Like,
Yeah, I mean maybe it's fatigue with like the mental side of things where when he feels fresh, he's more aggressive just because he feels good. But then if he's not like 100% or through the course of the season, like you're rarely going to be at 100% unless you're like coming off of a break or haven't played
hmm,
much lately, right? So like when he's not 100%, he just kind of defaults to being more passive and less aggressive and just isn't doesn't have the same confidence, doesn't have the same level of aggression, and it's like partly because he's feeling fatigued, but also partly because like mentally he doesn't do a good enough job at dealing with that. Maybe that's it, where it's not like he's too tired to have a game like this, but it's he when he is feeling not 100%, he just kind of defaults to floating around and being kind of invisible offensively. I don't know. But I think it's a very legitimate question, no matter what side of it you believe. I don't know the answer, but we've definitely seen him have these stretches where like after he plays and plays well, Chauncey will start playing him more. But even if Chauncey doesn't start playing him more, when he plays and plays well and like starts chaining together a big stretch of games in a row without missing any games, like his play tends to drop off. And this game he looked fresh again. He looked like motivated, and maybe part of it is coaching staff got to him. He made an effort to be more aggressive and attack the rim. But it's like it's one of those things where, ooh, this was a good game from Sharpe. Okay, I said this in our group chat. I won't be encouraged until he chains together like 5+ games of good play, because we've seen all the flashes before. Nothing he did tonight is something that we haven't seen before. It was good to see for sure. It was good to see him have a good game, especially given some of his struggles. So definitely a positive. But in terms of like the conversation around him changing, right now the conversation is he's inconsistent and really struggles shooting the three. This was one of those good games. He still struggled to shoot the three, but it was good. He attacked the rim, all that. He has to do it for more than like 4 or 5 games. Like he has to keep it up. And then if he has games like this for the next 15 games, then I'll start saying like, oh yeah, okay, I'm feeling a lot more confident about him becoming a star, because stars do it on a night in, night out basis. Even if they have bad shooting nights, they're still aggressive, they're still confident, they still try and impose their will on a game. So that's kind of the thing for Sharpe is, can you be consistent? And that's always going to be the thing for Sharpe until he becomes consistent.
yeah, to me, I feel like there's trying to think of how to word this. If if he was more consistently like the number one option, or like they made a concerted effort to get him, good clean shots or like had plays designed where like, okay, you're going to come off this curl screen and you should be open for an elbow jump or whatever. Um, I think part of it might be, he's obviously this is not saying this is correct. I'm saying that if you look at Chauncey the way he has it set up, I think it's very clearly Anfernee and Grant and maybe even Aiton are like higher options just in the regular offense than Sharp is. He's almost like a secondary character on that, like and so maybe it's as simple as when he gets the ball or when he's shooting threes, he's just not as comfortable as he could be if he was like believed in as a better scorer than those guys, because I think he could be better than all three of them if given that opportunity. So it's like almost like, oh, it's finally my turn to shoot or something after watching Grant take 4 bad shots in a row and drive in on 3 guys and do all this stuff. And then, but at the same time, you can't shoot that bad when you do get your opportunities. You got to take advantage of them. Yeah. And he missed some open shots today. But yeah, I do feel like sometimes he's just like, oh, I finally get a chance to shoot the ball,
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's not like he doesn't touch the ball and maybe pass up some opportunities to be aggressive. So, I do think that's something for him to focus on. And this team has some serious hierarchy issues right now.
I know, that's why we talked about the trades.
They need to fix their hierarchy issues, man, because it's. I wanna wait to have the Avdija Grant talk a little bit, but we have to have a conversation about that. And part of it's like one of those conversations where we're gonna be positive for one guy and negative for another, but the writing is on the wall. Okay, the writing is on the wall. But I want to take a look at team stats real quick from this game. So let's do that if my computer will be normal.
So, Tori, what you're saying is later on you want to talk about the numbers 36 versus 21.
36 versus 21. Wait, Deni only played 21 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even realize it was that bad. I hadn't looked at his minutes, bro. That's that. Now I'm kind of pissed. I thought it was closer than that. That pisses me off, man.
Sorry.
Chat, how do you feel about that? You can let us know. We'll have that conversation after we take a look at the team stats. Let us know how you feel about Deni Avdija playing 21 minutes tonight and Jeremy Grant playing 36. Please tell me how that makes sense, because I don't get it. Anyway, the Nuggets, this is just weird. The Nuggets outshot the Blazers 54 to 46% from the field, 44 to 35% from 3. I'm rounding here. The Blazers make 5 more free throws. They get 7 more offensive rebounds and turn the ball over 1 less time. So they shot 10 more field goals and 3 more free throw attempts. It's a lot
like
easier.
21 to 9 or 21 to 8 on second chance points. Yeah,
that's
the difference.
When you're a team that can't shoot and really struggles with half-court offense, it's a lot easier when you just get a bunch more shots. Because you can miss more, because you have more. So I think part of it is, the Klingon-Rob Will pairing was a plus 11 in the first half.
Yeah.
And offensive rebounding, right? What do you think of that pairing, and what else jumps out on this team stats to you?
Well, I was going to say real quick, Sharpe and Tamani both had putbacks in the first stretch of the game, too. That really helped us at least stay in the game early. Denver took like an 9-point lead, 28-20 or something like that, and it felt like this game was slipping away from us very quickly. But then that duo, Klingon and Robert, I thought kind of stabilized the game a little bit. And I like those two playing with guards. In the second half, they had Deni playing small forward a little bit with them, with Scoot and Anfernee. But if we're going to play the 3 guards, I'd kind of like to see it with the 2 bigs too. So it's just like, all bigs and all guards. Um, but yeah, I didn't really have an issue with it. I didn't think it really mattered too much, although you could argue it might have affected Scoot's game a little bit. You're muted.
You're right. We're gonna have to have a conversation about Scoot. Is all I said. But this is like, you got some guys that I really enjoy on this team. You got some guys I really don't, and I think a lot of the fan base feels that way right now. Shout out to Hyper Prime member for 30 months. Just a wave emoji. Shout out to you, Hyper Prime. But thanks for being a channel member. The next member message kind of speaks to what I just spoke on. Shout out to Tristan Klein, member for 10 months, says, Blazers aren't as fun to watch when Ayton plays. There's a lot of people that feel that way. And thank you, Tristan, for being a channel member. That's a perfect segue. You know I love my segues. It's a perfect segue into this conversation. So, minutes breakdown. Deni Avdija, 21 minutes, 19 points. 6 for 9 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. Really good defense. Only 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Normally he packs the box score a little bit more than that, but I don't know. He only played 21 minutes. He had 19 points in 21 minutes on 9 shots. Right? Scoot plays the most minutes off the bench, and it's like Scoot should be playing minutes. I just think, if you're basing minutes off of how well guys are playing, no, you're not. Because he plays the most minutes off the bench, 27 minutes. 2 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. 2 turnovers, 4 assists, 7 points for Scoot. Okay. Klingon plays 12 minutes. Robert Williams plays 10 minutes. Ayton plays 35.
We said this before the game. We did not want to see those numbers like that.
This is the way it's going to be, and this is why the Blazers have not wanted to play DeAndre Ayton with Klingon with Williams.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only
why is it that way? Like, it doesn't make sense. They don't want the 3 of them all to be healthy because they want to play Klingon and Robert Williams. But what did you say? What was the quote about Robert Williams trade? Like, why we're not going to trade him?
Yeah, the Blazers aren't eager to trade him, but they're also not eager to play him when Ayton and Klingon is healthy. Eric, just sit him. Why even risk him getting hurt to play him 10 minutes? Because it's not like you're showcasing him. It's not like he could even find any rhythm in this game. He did not score 4 boards, did not even shoot a shot. Free throw, field goal, didn't even shoot a shot. Like, he did a little bit of cardio out there. Why risk this dude getting hurt to play him 10 minutes? And for him to just, not even do anything. It's kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. At that point, just sit him and just say, yeah, we want to preserve him. Here's the thing. If you sit him in a game like this, because you got Klingon, you got Ayton, and you're just like, oh, we want to prioritize Klingon and the guy we're paying a max to for some reason. I don't think teams at the deadline are going to be like, yeah, no, Robert Williams is healthy and he's really good and exactly what we need, but we're not going to trade for him just because you sat him for your rookie center that you drafted 7th overall. I don't think teams are going to say that. So, him playing 10 minutes a game like this, it's not, I don't think it's going to help his trade value. If anything, it's just risking it because we know this dude is injury prone. Like, if anything, you don't want him playing at all if he's only going to play 10 minutes. If you're going to play Robert Williams, he should be playing enough minutes where it's like, oh man, he's having a dominant impact on this game, and it's obvious to every other team out there that wants him, like, yeah, this dude is still the same dude he was in Boston. It's still dominating games like that. And honestly, we might already be there. Teams might already feel that way about him. He probably has more trade value than Jeremy Grant right now. So why even play him then? It's just strange.
Yeah, the only thing is you're just trying to play him a short amount of minutes to make it look like he is healthy, or healthy enough to be traded. But man, this is why I get so frustrated with this front office though. It's like, if you're going to play him this little and he's clearly 3rd on the pecking order or whatever, trade him then.
Why are you
Like,
so eager to keep him then?
yes, just get value for him. It's like Brogdon last year. It's like, oh, well, we're pretty good with Brogdon in the lineup, and we don't win any games with them out of the lineup. Who cares, dude? Like, we're not going. It's not like we're making the playoffs anyway. So just freaking trade him. Like, it doesn't. You're going to trade him in the offseason anyway. So just trade him. Like, so.
Let me just say this. Who here today is saying, thank goodness we had Brogdon at the start of last year so we could win those games we won with them? Dude, I don't even remember, like, winning any games with him. That's how little I care. Like,
no, it was something like, it was till like February or something before he won a game that he didn't play in or something like that. It was some crazy thing like that. Or he didn't even play. Maybe it was January, but like it was but we just heard how valuable his mentorship was, right, Tori?
yeah, so valuable for Scoot, man. He's playing great right now thanks to Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah, and yeah. I don't get it, man. It just reeks of once again of a team that doesn't have a concrete plan or what they're trying to do. And if you're trying to, you can make the argument they're trying to get Grant and Ayton maximize their trade value or whatever. But
that has not happened, by the way. Not even close.
You don't have to play them 35 minutes a game to maximize their trade value. In fact, they might be better in short spurts, and then you can say, hey, we're playing them because obviously we want to keep them fresh for a trade and make sure people can see that they're healthy and playing well. But you don't have to run them into the ground, too, while you're not playing players that are like Klingon more than 12 minutes that are actually going to be a part of this team long term. It's so frustrating. That's why I can never just fully buy into what they're doing because it never makes sense.
It's not even like a complaint about the way Ayton played at all tonight. He did multiple things well for once. He rebounded well, 4 assists, like had that nice lob to Tamani I already talked about, 4 blocks as well. Like he actually did some other things, right? Now he's 50% from the field and 1 for 2 from the free throw line, so it's not like he had an efficient scoring night, because he only shoots 2s. That's why you can't just look at field goal percentage. But, he did some other things. Like, he played fine tonight. It's just like, okay, this is why you have to get rid of DeAndre Ayton, especially if you plan on keeping Robert Williams III. This is also why this is why you got to at least trade one of them. You can't sit here and be like, we want to keep Robert Williams, but he's our third string center. And then what happens if you can't move Ayton? Because that's a possibility. Then what? You're just going to deal with this all season? No, what you're going to do is you're going to give them fake injuries for the final 2 months of the year. And then other teams can wonder if they're healthy going into the offseason. You can say, yeah, they're healthy. We were just tanking. But probably not the route you want to go with Robert Williams. Robert Williams will probably have more value at the deadline than he will heading into the offseason, especially if you sit him the final couple months, because teams are going to want Robert Williams for a playoff run. So we'll see what the Blazers do here, man, but trading both Ayton and Williams is a much better alternative than keeping both of them. And they at least got to trade one of them. Obviously, if I had to choose who they trade, it's DeAndre Ayton, but Robert Williams has a lot more value. And Robert Williams is a lot easier for other teams to trade for because he makes like a third of what Ayton is making. Instead, you're going to keep Robert Williams into next season when he's expiring? Maybe he might leave in free agency because he wants to go play for a winning franchise again, You're going to try and sell him at the deadline when he's an expiring contract next offseason. Like, what is your long-term plan with Robert Williams? What is your long-term plan with the center position? Because Klingon's been pretty damn good this year, and he was a +9 team high in this game. He just has an impact on the floor, like huge impact defensively. Makes a 3 in this game. That was cool to see. He's playing 12 minutes. He should be playing more. We all know why he's playing 12 minutes. It's because you got DeAndre Ayton. And you're also, I know Williams and Klingon look good together in the first half, but it's like offensively that's not going to work spacing-wise. It's just not. So I just... What's the freaking plan, man?
Did you see Donovan hit that 3?
Yes, we need our a rim protecting 7'2" center to become I don't know, Karl Anthony Towns from the 3-point line in order to make it work, man.
I don't know. The 3-point shot looked better than his post-up hook shot.
You're not lying. You're not lying. But, I mean, he needs to get better at those types of shots, right? For Clayton's development, I don't want him just camped out on the 3-point line all the time just shooting threes. I want him trying to finish some of these plays inside. Even if it looks bad, it's like, okay, you learn from the struggle. You learn from your failures. And those types of shots, while it's kind of cringy and bad when he bricks a hook shot from 5 feet and doesn't even hit rim, it can be a learning experience. Like, okay, the ball is obviously coming out of your hand wrong. You got to work on maybe hand placement and the way that shot rolls off your hand. And he probably does it right all the time in practice, but he needs game reps because it's different in a game. And that's why it's good not to just have him camp behind the 3-point line all the time. So, I don't know. I thought that was silly. But the other thing that's silly is, like, why is Jeremy Grant playing so much and Deni Avdija is playing 21 minutes? And, like, sometimes people will argue with me. Or like, Avdija's playmaking is good off the bench. It needs playmaking. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. You can start Deni some out early, some back in with the bench. And then people say, oh, it doesn't matter who's starting. It matters who's finishing. Well, Jeremy Grant finished this game for some freaking reason, even though he's 4 for 14 from the field. Hey, he had 4 assists and 5 boards. Deni does that on an average night. When Jeremy does that, I'm ready to go buy some champagne and pop bottles in here. Oh my goodness, he had 5 boards and 4 assists, Eric. Phenomenal stuff by his standards, unfortunately. He doesn't rebound well. He doesn't pass well. Like he's has not finished well inside the arc. He has not created well. The only thing he's done at anything more than a below average level this year is shoot threes. But like outside of a couple super hot shooting nights, he's been pretty consistently mediocre shooting threes too. Right? So he's probably playing his trade value down the more he plays. You got this guy you traded 2 first-round picks for in Deni Avdija playing phenomenal. The past month, Deni Avdija has been the best Blazer on the team. If you take into account everything. In terms of like overall positive impact, he's rebounding, he's defending at a super high level, he's made plays for others, and he's been scoring the ball at a crazy efficient rate in limited minutes. And it's like, I want to see this dude, I want to see Avdija playing 35 minutes a night. He'd probably be averaging like 22, 7, and 5 the last month if he was playing 35 minutes a night. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, so there's no, how do I phrase it? With Chauncey right now, it's like, it does not matter if you play better than the guy ahead of you. It's like he has these rotations kind of set in stone. Deni Avdija comes out and plays great tonight and plays 21 minutes. Does not matter that Deni Avdija played much better than Jeremy Grant tonight. Jeremy Grant's getting 36 minutes. Deni Avdija is getting 21. That's just the way it is. There's no performance factor in terms of switching up the lineups, it seems, lately. And that bothers me because you're not that good. Guys that are killing it, especially the guy you could trade 2 first-round picks for, Deni Avdija is playing freaking great right now. He should be playing more than 21 minutes in a game like this.
Yes, you should. I mean, even with trying to get people trade value and all this stuff, it makes no sense that he's the one right now that isn't playing 35 minutes. Like I don't understand, man.
Yep. Absolutely. It's just silly. And I mean, this is why you have to trade Jeremy Grant. But it's like, you know what's funny, Eric? You know what's funny is there are still people who, I don't know how many people this is, but there's still people who feel like the Blazers gave up too much for Deni Avdija, but then in the same breath will turn around and say Jeremy Grant is worth 2 firsts. If 2 firsts and Malcolm Brogdon is too much for Deni Avdija, who is better, younger, and cheaper, much cheaper than Jeremy Grant, if Malcolm Brogdon is 2 firsts for him, how can you expect 2 firsts back for Jeremy Grant? It doesn't make any sense to me. At all.
Nope. That's once again, this team doesn't seem to have a direction. You'd think the guy you gave up that for, you want to play more, especially since he's not playing bad.
Yeah.
And it's like his minutes have gotten less as he's been playing better. It makes no sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he started off starter playing the same minutes as some of the starters, like a lot, 30 plus minutes a game. And now it's like decreasing.
Yeah, it's like I think he had 19 points in his first 17 minutes, and like the graphic came across the bottom of the screen. Then I'm like, man, if he was getting Jeremy Grant's minutes, would he have a 40-point game tonight? You know what I mean? Like, this is the type of things I think. Like, man, if he's playing Jeremy Grant minutes, would we be looking at Avdija as taking a leap to stardom right now? Because he's playing great, and at the end of the night, you look at it as like 19 points. Yeah, that's pretty good, you know. But Simons had 28. Okay, Simons had 28 in 35 minutes. Avdija has 19 in 21 minutes, and he's 6 for 9 from the field. He's 3 for 6 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line. Like, he started off this game 3 for 3 from 3. He's a freaking sniper lately. And it's just like, man, if he was allowed 35 minutes where he could, like, when he gets hot, he's not getting subbed out earlier than he probably should, or he can, like, maintain a rhythm throughout a game. How many points is he putting on the board efficiently? That's what I want to know. Because when we got Avdija, it's like, oh, he's a perfect role player. But I told people, I said, I feel like he has some sneaky upside. Where he could be the type of guy you bring in, you expect him to be a really, really good role player, but he's crafty and creative and strong and quick enough and skilled enough to maybe have another step in him as a scorer. And he averaged, I forget, like 17, 18 per 36 last year, which is pretty good, shooting 50% from the field, 37% from 3. It's like, okay, what if he plays 35 minutes a game, gets that up to like 21, 22 points per game? If he's a 22-point per game scorer, getting like 4 or 5 assists per game, 7 boards, playing terrific defense, isn't that like getting pretty close to like a fringe star? You know, and rebounds well and does little things on top of that. Like that's a freaking phenomenal player. And with the way he's playing lately, I kind of just feel like, man, he would be that guy if he was playing 35 minutes a game right now. But he's not playing 35 minutes a game. He's playing 21 in a game like this.
And the weird part is his three-point shot is money right now, too. Like, I feel like it's going in every time, whereas earlier in the season it was like, oh, man, nothing is going in from him. But, like, he comes in, I think he made his first couple threes, and it's just like, wow, that's really a good dynamic if he's hitting threes and able to do all that stuff you said.
Yep, absolutely. We'll take questions from chat in a little bit.
So Colt says Deni averaged 29 minutes in October, and he's down to 25 in December. It's going down, yeah.
How the hell is his minutes going down, bro? Unless this is just like the most shameless tanking I've ever seen. Why? You're worried he's going to win you too many games or something if he plays more than 25 minutes a game right now? That's how well he's playing? Is that why? Like, what is the justification? I mean, like, Eric, right now I feel so freaking, like, part of me feels vindicated, okay? Because I was beating the drum before the season. He is a better player than Jeremy Grant. He's a better player than Jeremy Grant. Did a chat poll, I think like 70-80% of the people, percent of the chat poll said Jeremy Grant's better. Deni Avdija is clearly a better player than Jeremy Grant. What is Jeremy Grant better at than Deni Avdija right now? Is there anything, Eric? Chat, is there anything? Like the last month and a half?
Right now, I don't think so.
Yeah, like maybe you could try and chase shooting, but last month and a half, like Jeremy Grant has not been a better shooter than Deni Avdija. Jeremy Grant last year was like a shot creator that could get to the rim off the dribble. I don't know if he's lost a step or what, but he can't anymore. He's shooting below 40% inside the arc. Deni Avdija is better getting to the rim than he is. There's nothing that Jeremy Grant does better than Deni Avdija right now. And it's like, let's try to tell people that before the season. Avdija is better. It's a good thing that he's better, okay? Not trying to hate on Jeremy Grant too much, but like Avdija is good, man. I love Avdija.
Raymond says we're crying too much after a win.
Nah. Here's the thing. It's like, okay, we win a game. Okay, who is a big reason we won this game? Deni Avdija. Huge reason why we won this game. He only played 21 minutes. He only played 21 minutes, and it was great. Okay. We just supposed to ignore that he only played 21 minutes and should be playing more because he's playing great? That's not crying to me. He's playing great. He deserves more minutes. He deserves more minutes. I am making the case to free Deni. I'm making the case to play Deni more minutes because he's playing so well. But if you think that's a negative thing, go ahead and take it negatively. That's you. That's not me. Okay? If he's playing great, he needs to play more minutes, especially over Jeremy Grant. That's the negative part. But that's why you got to trade Jeremy Grant. Here's the thing. They have such a clear path forward. They have the clearest path forward that they've had in quite some time. That's a positive. The path forward, you got to move Grant, you got to move Ayton. I don't even want to put Simons in the same breath as those. You know, we've had conversations with Simons, but it's like, I don't think you have to move Simons the same way you have to move Grant, you have to move Ayton. You got Klingon, you got Rob Will, you got Deni, you got Kamara, you got Simons, you got Sharpe. Like, you got some pieces. You can move Rob Will as well, but you got some pieces, man. You got some really, really good pieces on this team. And certain guys deserve more minutes. It's that simple.
And I think as players have been in and out of the lineups this year, I don't know if it's even questionable at this point, where I think we're fine if we don't have some of those guys. Like, we'll be okay. We might even be better if we're not trying to force some of those guys these minutes. And that's the point, is that would we see games like tonight where we beat a playoff Denver team more often if we get rid of some of the crutches that Chauncey has, that he's playing 35 minutes a game. And that's all we're discussing is should Deni be one of those guys that's leaned on to play those kind of minutes? I think absolutely he should be. I mean, I don't think anyone on this team should be playing 35, 36 minutes necessarily. I think they should balance it out a little bit more, simply because, wins don't matter this year. But I think I just think it's crazy to keep playing your starters this many minutes when you traded for a guy like Deni and just have him be a bit roll off the bench.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, we'll take.
Jim says he disagrees. The first move is you have to fire the coach before any trade. I don't think it's happening anytime soon unless there's a string of embarrassing 60-point losses again. I mean, it'll happen after the season, but
why do you have to fire Chauncey before you make a move, though? I'll hear you out on it. I just don't really understand why you have to do it before, because he's a lame duck coach. If he's not a lame duck coach, we got some huge issues. Okay, so let's just say he's a lame duck coach, and don't get somebody better. If they fire him mid-season, they're just putting one of the assistants in charge. Is that really much better? Is that a huge difference? I don't think so. It's not like they're going to make a good coaching hire mid-season. So they can wait till the offseason. Is how I feel about it. Anyway, shout out to, let me thank the last donation message we had. A huge shout out to Coleman Schleiss. Good to see you, Coleman. $10 donation. Says, love the show. Been watching y'all for ages. Yeah, we've been at it for a while, man.
We know that, Coleman. Where you been?
We're old. Yeah, where you been, Coleman? It's good to see you, man. It's good to see you. Says, can y'all elaborate about the fake injury stuff with Ayton? Is this something that players are okay with the front office requesting, essentially being told to sit? So the thing is with Ayton is let's just say, like, there was I don't know like how I should phrase it, but basically there's somebody that I would trust that alluded to it, and then there was somebody else I know that knows some people that also alluded to it. And then you have this interview with Ayton, and he says he's feeling great, but is still questionable with this illness. And when Klingon was healthy, Rob Will was healthy, they sat Ayton for 7 games with a finger bruise. Like,
It was a deep one,
A
Tori.
deep finger bruise? Really? So it's fishy. Like, it's very fishy. I keep saying, okay, maybe he was actually sick and maybe it was just the worst finger bruise of all time. Okay? Maybe. But we know this organization has had guys sit before with fake injuries to tank, so it wouldn't be a surprise if they did that. And listen, they should keep doing it with Aiden right now. So they can play Klingon more than 12 minutes and don't have to play Klingon with Robert Williams and all this crap. Right? So that's basically what that stuff is. Thank you for the donation. Anyway, let's give a
good to see you, Coleman.
We got odds for something that I want to take a look at. It's kind of ironic considering this dude hit a buzzer beater, but there are odds. And I'm just curious what you think about this, okay? If Anfernee Simons gets traded.
Did you see the CJ ones?
I think I looked at them. I forget, though. The Heat were the favorite, which would be funny if he got traded to the Heat.
No, the Bucks were the favorite.
Oh, that was recent. Like, CJ used to be have the Heat as the favorite. Which I thought would be ironic if the Heat didn't get Dame and get CJ instead. But it would also be ironic if the Heat got Anfernee Simons instead of Dame, because the Heat are plus 400. The Magic are the favorite for Anfernee Simons, which, if Anfernee Simons gets traded, I hope it's to the Magic, okay? The Magic have picks. They have some young players of different values where I think the Blazers could kind of maximize value, and I think Orlando is the type of team that could use a guy like Anfernee Simons, a little bit more scoring punch. They have great defense. I think Simons next to Suggs would be a really good fit, and you got some point forwards there with Wagner, who's playing great, and Banchero, who has looked good this year before he got hurt. So I think the Magic make the most sense, and it's Anfernee Simons' hometown, so that has always kind of been the team that we've talked about, and I thought maybe they would be aggressive going after him last offseason. It turns out they really weren't. You also got the Spurs, man. I mean, they could use some guard punch, and they won tonight, and they're 14-13, so they look like a playing team right now. And they're a team that's going to, I think, look for upgrades that fit their timeline at the deadline, and Anfernee Simons would certainly be that. Now, I don't know how the Nuggets get him, and the Warriors, I don't think these two front offices like each other after the GP 2 week stuff, so I think those two teams at the bottom I would not trust, but the Magic and the Spurs, I think, kind of make the most sense for Anfernee Simons. The Heat, I don't think this Blazers front office is trading with the Heat anytime soon. So, Eric, do you agree with those sentiments in terms of Anfernee Simons' odds on his next team if he gets traded?
Yeah, I don't know if those teams are looking to mix it up in terms of like a guy like Anfernee Simons type trade. I think the Magic might have a little. Well, I mean, Goga and Wagner have been playing okay at center, so maybe it's not that big of a need. But I think we thought they had a creation problem or shooting problem at the guard position, but I think their center position is a little bit more of a need than that right now. So because Wendell Carter Jr. has not played great, so I don't know, man. Are those the only 5 teams listed, or any other teams?
Yeah, they have 5 teams listed for a bunch of different players.
I would love if they had the Pistons. I would like to see what the odds are, because they'd be worse than plus 1,000. But
yeah, and the Pistons definitely make more sense for him than the Nuggets, Warriors, or Heat if you're gonna bet on it. You kind of gotta look at it like the Blazers and Heat front offices probably don't like each other after the Dame stuff, and there's just weird stuff there. And then the Warriors, like, same kind of thing. The Nuggets, I mean, if he gets straight to the Nuggets, you know what that means? That means Michael Porter Trash Can is a Blazer, Eric.
Yeah.
Would I have to stop calling him Michael Porter Trash Can if he was a Blazer?
Well, you wouldn't have to, but...
I mean, that's very negative. It might be too negative. It's a long-running joke, Michael Porter trash can. I don't even know where it started, okay, but that's what I call him. I don't like him. And I don't like his lack of defense and just, I don't know. I don't like Michael Porter trash can, okay? I don't want him on this team. Eric, you know what's funny is like people want Ant traded because he doesn't play defense and doesn't pass and doesn't, fit the identity that we're trying to build here in Portland. If you got traded for Michael Porter trash can, that's literally worse. I think MPJ or MPT, maybe I should call him. I think he fits worse here in terms of the types of guys you want. And because he's not a defender, he's a shooter, he doesn't really pass. When he's playing off a guy like Jokic, who's the greatest passing center ever and phenomenal, yeah, it works. But like, they need defenders around those two guys, They need and Jamal Murray. Without Bruce Brown, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they missed those two guys. They look like a different team. They look like a pretender, not a contender. And they won it all not too long ago. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch the Nuggets at the deadline. But if you guys want to get in on this action, shout out to BetUS. This is a clean graphic. I like the snowflakes. They make some cool graphics for us. But if you want in on the action and you want to, bet on one of these teams for Anfernee Simons or maybe place a wager on a different Blazer player or a guy like CJ McCollum who's on there as well, the Bucks being the favorite, you can use promo code YouTube150 on BetUS. We'll give you 150% bonus on your first deposit, 125% bonuses on your next two deposits up to $2,000. Shout out to BetUS for sponsoring the Postgame show.
Also, as stupid as this will sound, I still don't know if the Blazers and Heat would be even talk to each other about a trade right now.
Yeah, it's a no-go. You know what I wonder is, would they do a 3-team trade with each other if there was, a third team that initiated it?
Yeah.
Because I was looking at, there was the rumor, the Heat want Vucevic. And then I'm like, yeah, the Bulls might be a team that are like, we need a new center, and we like DeAndre Ayton because it's the Chicago Bulls, and they don't have a good front office, right? So then it's 3-team trade. The Bulls could initiate that, because they'd talk with the Heat on Vucevic, and then we'd talk with the Bulls on Ayton. Would we do a 3-team trade with the Miami Heat? Or do we not like each other so much that we wouldn't even do a 3-team trade? I don't know. Who knows?
That'd be so funny. Hey, we have a trade. The Bulls call them. We have a trade. What would you be willing to give to get Vucevic? And then they're like, blah blah blah, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds perfect. And then they just don't even say there's a third team, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, so by the way, there's a third team in this Portland, but it doesn't change your end of it. That's what you do in the mock-off season, Tori. You call 8 different teams, and then you try to work out just their part of it without telling them all the other parts of the trade, and it's their fault for not asking a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So you end up with all these pieces, and you're like, wait, how did this team not get more for trading this out from this team? And you're like, well, they didn't even ask about.
You know what the logic is, okay? If you can slightly win with one team in a trade, okay? Then if you add 7 teams to a trade, those slight wins stack up. All of a sudden, it's a massive dub.
Yeah, I guess.
So, yeah, I think if you don't know what our mock off season is, every off season we get together. Myself, Eric, and 28 of you guys. We've had the same people for multiple years that know the CBA pretty well, know players, that sort of thing. But we basically, everybody runs a team and we follow all CBA rules, and we have spreadsheets for players that get traded, that calculates the salary and all that stuff. It's very, very nerdy stuff. It's role playing as GM. It's literally a mock off season. We do a draft, free agency, whole off season. And yeah, that's my strategy. I think I pulled off a 7-team trade last year. I need to go back and look at it. All I know is I was the Nets. I got their picks back, got Cam Whitmore, got G.G. Jackson. That's all I remember. And I had a 7-team trade, so Joe Cronin should take notes. He should work on his 7-team trades, and that's a strategy, man. If you can win a little bit with one team, try and add 29 other teams to a trade, and then you really win. Obviously, not realistic for a 29-team trade. Although, maybe I would be that GM to like call up the other teams. Hey, do you guys want to like try and just figure out a 30-team trade just to troll everyone? Get hung up on. I tried. Maybe I'll do that in this mock off season this year. That's.
What if I just refuse the trade? So.
Then you can be the one guy that's no fun.
You pull off a 29-team trade, and I'm just refused.
You're just on the sidelines, sitting out. That's my goal. 29-team trade. And I will try and make it make sense for every single team. It's going to be fun. Anyway, we'll take questions for a little bit. Then we got to get into our big boards. Also, we got to do... Oh, it's a win. We don't do take-a-thon in a win. Or do we? I keep forgetting. You want to do it
this year
every
we don't
game.
care. Yeah, I don't.
But also, we hit a buzz. Yeah, you're right. Oh, we're up in odds despite a win since the last time we checked. That's cool. We'll take that. Blazers now tied for 6th best odds with the Philadelphia 76ers, a.k.a. the OKC Thunder. 35% chance at the number one overall. Or not the number one. I wish. 35% chance at the top 4. 8.3% chance at the number one overall pick. And we are 2 games behind Charlotte. We are 2.5 games behind 3rd place. And this is confusing, but win percentage. All right, let's simulate it, score from the bottom like we normally do. I need to get the sound effects back for this. I miss those. At 14, we got the Houston Rockets via the Phoenix Suns. They really lost today, dude. 13, Golden State. 12 is San Antonio via Chicago. Eric, who moved up? We might need you to start pulling up like your own take-a-thon page so you can tell me who moved up.
All
right.
right.
I don't remember who the hell was 12.
I got you. Hold on. 12th place is San Antonio. Great.
San Antonio moves down a spot and San Antonio moves up at the same time. Phenomenal. All right, at 11 is Sacramento. At 10 is Brooklyn. At 9 is Detroit. At 8 is OKC via Philadelphia. OKC gets the top 8 pick. San Antonio gets the top 4 pick. You love to see it. At 7 is the Charlotte Hornets, which means Portland moved up. Could we get a buzzer beater and a number 1 overall pick tankathon win on the same day? That'd be the stream of the year.
Draft karma for actually trying to win and not taking this game away like it looked like we were about to.
Yeah, and playing Nate in 35 minutes or something. All right, 6 is Utah, and 5 is Washington. So that means New Orleans is top 4, Portland's top 4, San Antonio's top 4, and who else? Who am I forgetting? Toronto.
Yeah.
3 Western teams and an Eastern team. All right. We keep getting like 3rd and 4th. Can we get top 2 at least? At 4 is your Portland Trail Blazers. God dang it, man. Why do we always get 4th?
Well, we're just saving the good fortune for when we actually have the lotto. The one drawing that counts.
Yeah, the top 3 is where we want to be. At 3 is San Antonio. At 2 is New Orleans, which means number 1 overall pick is Toronto.
Or is 4 exactly where we want to be?
Why?
Oh, I think we could get Cheems guy there.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, Cheem. Good old Cheem. Is he in the chat?
He was earlier. I don't know if he still is.
Yeah. We're gonna review our big boards in a second. I need to update mine. I have not had time. Okay, so I'm gonna do that like on stream before we reveal them. But Toronto gets the number 1 overall pick. Excited for draft talk and all that. We'll take questions for like 5 minutes while I update this board. Chat, I need to talk to you guys a little bit more. I need to talk to chat a little bit more because I see you guys asking great questions during the stream, but I'll be in the middle of a rant about minutes for Deni Avdija and, you know. So if you had a question I didn't answer earlier on the stream, ask it in the chat. I'll do my best to answer it. And when we truly start tanking, then we'll actually need a bunch of questions because there's nothing to talk about when we really tank. So,
Michael, haven't we answered that question
what was the question?
before? If the Blazers end up getting 8th, 9th, 10-ish, and Flag and other franchise changers are gone, does it blow the big plan, whatever that is?
I remember answering this question. I mean, you can draft somebody at 8, 9, 10 with star potential. So I don't think it blows up their plans. You shouldn't plan on getting Cooper Flag. Even the worst odds, it's like almost 50-50 chance of staying in the top 4 if you're the worst team in the league. So it's not exactly like a sure thing to be there at all. We can talk about who we'd like at those spots in a second.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to reveal our big boards, so...
Yeah. Oh, man, my big board is something, man.
Blaze Next says, what do you guys think DeAndre Ayton eats on game day?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I feel like that, that video of him on media day where they just follow him around all day or something, or maybe he had his own camera just walking around. I feel like he talked about what food he likes on that, but
yeah.
I don't remember. Eric Olson wants to know where I have Ace Bailey. If only there was a show coming up where we revealed our big boards where you could find out that information.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's inappropriate, Drew. I can't show that.
Are we doing top 40? We're doing top 40, right?
Let's do first round, top 30.
Oh, I'm ready to go top 40.
You could go you could just say some of your...
I can go through my top...
Okay, yeah, I don't care.
40-ish. I don't know. The 31 to 40 is very fluid. Okay, my top 30 is kind of like where I'm at right now. Okay. So do you want to do this? So last time we did it like pick by pick. Do you want to do it where like you can start or I can start, but we say our top 5 and then we can comment on it and then like the other person can say their top 5 and then we do 6 through 10. Do you want to do it that way? Or do you want to do it pick by pick like we have?
I don't care.
Chat, I'll do a chat poll. Chat, how do you want us to do it? This is, after all, a democracy, even though it's a cult. Okay? How shall we reveal our big boards? 1 pick at a time or 5 picks at a time?
Oh, David Chavez says, I've always wondered what you guys do after the stream. You guys stay on the call for a bit or you guys go your own separate ways? Well, we used to talk for a little bit afterwards, but I wake up at 4:30, so
yeah, we don't got time to talk anymore.
I'm usually like, dude, I'm going to bed. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's literally like, good stream, man. Yeah, have a good night. See ya.
Yeah,
it's literally that short. Just back in COVID, 2020, we had all the time in the world. So this is very 40 votes and it's 50-50, Eric. $50 votes and it's 40 votes and it's 50-50. I'll give you guys another 20 seconds. Okay.
Farrell really pulley says Eric is too old now. Yeah, that's so true.
True.
Although I was told I looked super young today, and that someone couldn't believe that I was 45.
What a nice person.
Yeah, they said I had a young spirit.
Oh, wow. Hey, at least somebody likes your spirit. That's more than Aiden. Eric got hit on. Yeah, for real. All right, we're doing 5 picks at a time because it won 54% of the vote. Okay. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Okay, you can. Or if you want me to go first.
Mine is kind of chalky. No, I want you to go first. I want you to go first for the top 5 at least.
Let's start with top 3. No, we can do top 5. All right, I still have Cooper Flag 1, and then I have Dylan Harper's moved up to 2.
Good.
He's just played way too well to not do that. And then I have Ace Bailey at 3. Still, obviously, some concerns, but I think the spacing of the NBA, I believe he'll be a good 3-point shooter at the very least, and I believe he is a good defender. So those things I can work with. If someone else continues to play like Dylan Harper, might reconsider that, but there's really no one that's, in my mind, I mean, you can make the case for a few people, but no one has made it like, oh man, you have to take this guy over Ace Bailey. So I still like Ace Bailey at 3. At 4, I am drinking the Kool-Aid, Tori.
On who?
I just joked about it.
Oh God.
Jeremiah Fears.
Oh
I have him at number 4. He is rising up my draft board. A lot of the metrics.
Just don't put him above Cooper Flag like Cheem did.
No.
Because he's the type of guy that I like, and I'm just like, Cheem has him above Cooper Flag, and I'm like hating on it. And
well, he has Cooper Flag 4th, so
yeah. I mean, it's kind of direct, though.
Yeah, he's not the same player as this, but it kind of reminds me of the Trae Young year at Oklahoma, where someone like takes over as a freshman and just looks amazing. And there's a lot of metrics that it's basically just Dylan Harper, James Harden, and Fears that qualify for some of those things when you do different search parameters and stuff like that. So, man, I just have been really impressed with him. Obviously, the 4-point play to win the game the other day, but just the way he moves. We talked about movement a lot. I know you're big on movement, and
he's my type of guy.
He's like plays like a star, like he takes over games and isn't afraid to take shots and all that kind of stuff. I've really grown to like him over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and then who'd you have at 5? And we can like name like 5 and then talk about it all after too.
Yeah.
Like we could name ours next to each other and how you have for.
And I have Kasparas. I don't know how to
Yakuchonis.
That's
pretty close at least. Cool. Ours is very similar outside of 4.
Mm-hmm.
So ours is the same outside of 4. I got Cooper Flag at 1. 2 is Dylan Harper. 3 is Ace Bailey. I just don't know who else to put at 3. I don't really like having Ace Bailey at 3, but there's nobody else that I feel like I should put at number 3 right now. Number 4 is Trey Johnson. Number 5 is Yakuchonis. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not going to lie. I am on the fence about putting Dylan Harper number 1.
Yeah, you want to move over Flag?
I'm just like, it's not even like I'm one of these people that's like hating on Cooper Flag because he's not averaging like 1 million points per game on like insane efficiency, right? Like Flag is having the season I expected. I'm not like more down on Flag than I was entering the season. Dylan Harper just screams like, yeah, that dude's probably going to be a top 15 player one day. And does Dylan Harper have more like certain upside than Cooper Flagg in terms of like who are the best players in the league. They are like outlier physical freaks in terms of like front court players, or they're like a guy like Jason Tatum, who in college was like a very gifted scorer, more gifted than Cooper Flagg is, or they're insanely skilled guards, and a lot of them are like big guards, right? So like Luka, SGA, right? I just feel like Dylan Harper's that next big guard that's a top 10, top 15 player, and I feel actually pretty confident about it. Like if the Blazers end up drafting it too and Cooper Flagg goes number 1, I am not even that upset. Like if they get top 2, I think they have it made. Because I think these two guys are in a tier by themselves, like a clear tier by themselves. Like there's a noticeable drop off to like how I feel about a guy like Ace Bailey. Okay? And that's just because Ace Bailey like doesn't show creation. He can make shots, and we'll have flashes here or there where he'll put the ball on the floor, and he could end up being freaking phenomenal. Like, he might learn how to do that. It's just Dylan Harper's already doing that. Gets to the rim all the time, finishes literally everything, just has, like, an instinct to score, man. Like, he just has that it factor, and I don't really like using that term, but he hit a buzzer beater against Seton Hall, whereas, like, he got a shot, and you had a feeling like, yeah, he's gonna hit this buzzer beater. Because he just has that it factor, man, and I would feel very confident if the Blazers got him in terms of like, yeah, this is going to be our superstar. This is going to be our star that can carry the offense. And I would maybe feel slightly more comfortable with Dylan Harper in that regard than Cooper Flagg maybe. And that's where I'm like, I don't know who to put number 1. I have them actually pretty close together. And it's not a shot at Flagg. It's just Harper looks freaking amazing.
Yeah, I think for me, when you look at some of the analytics on Flagg being as high as they are despite being relatively inefficient, it's crazy to think if he starts to figure out his efficiency things, those things are going to skyrocket to, like, he's already putting up like elite comparison numbers in college. If he had that too, like, we're talking about amongst the greatest college seasons of all time. So it's weird, but I agree. Harper's making it hard to. I didn't think this would be a conversation unless it was Ace Bailey, pushing him, but obviously that's not going to be the case. I don't think anyone can make that argument this year. So, I mean, I get it. To me, the Banchero types, even if they're not top 15 players, I still think you can do a lot of things with them. It's tough though.
So you make a legitimate argument. Okay, there's an argument in chat. No offense to the person that made this argument, but I absolutely loathe this argument. Okay. The argument is it's a wings league, all else equal, a 6'9" guy will always be better than a 6'5" guy. Bro, Luka Doncic, SGA are 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", okay? You do not say no to SGA because, oh, he's not 6'9". You don't say no to Luka because, oh, he's not 6'9". Like, all else equal, it's not equal. That's so it's just not like a relevant argument, right?
Anthony Edwards.
You got to draft players for like what they'll be and what their upside is, and I don't know. It's the same logic like taking Ace Bailey over somebody like Yakuchonis. Like Yakuchonis has a ton of upside. Ace Bailey might be Jabari Smith, where it's like, yeah, he can shoot, but he's just like not good enough putting it on the floor to ever be like a star creator. And that's Jabari Smith. And that's why, I had some reservations about Jabari Smith. And it's like Yakuchonis could be the engine of an offense, and he could be the lead guard and he's a gifted player. I don't have Yakuchonis above Ace Bailey, but it's like that's the argument. The argument isn't Ace Bailey's 6'10" and Yakuchonis is 6'6". It's about their games. So I don't like when Yeah, the guy says agreed. I was only saying in a vacuum. Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of people have made that argument, which is why I'm talking about it. Where people were just like, you take the taller guy. Blazer fans have an issue with that, where it's like you just got to take the length. You got to take the length because they're, they dealt with the small lineup, the 3 guard lineups, the Dame CJ Norm Powell stuff, the Dame Anfernee Simon stuff. So they just want length. But it's like, Dylan Harper is big enough to guard threes. Like, he's a big guard, and I kind of like the idea of having a big guard that can get to the rim at will and just finish everything. And, like, has some shiftiness, and his shot was a question, but he's shooting like 35% from 3. He's shooting better from 3 than Cooper Flagg right now. And I get the analytical argument. I'm not as much of an analytical guy with college prospects as other people. And I don't know how much value to place upon analytics in college.
Yeah, I don't use it. I use eye tests a lot more, and then look at the numbers to back up to see if they match what my eye tests are. But it is interesting when there's a couple things, and you mentioned this guy at 4 on your list, I think. Trey, you have Trey at 4?
Yeah.
His free throw rate is insane.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, I think, does translate to the NBA.
Yeah.
So if a guy is a freshman in college and is getting to the line at an insane rate, and you're, once again, in comparisons with like James Harden type players that might be foul baiting or whatever, but you can completely change a game because you can get to the free throw line at will and get your team a free 10 to 12 points a game just for how much free throws you shoot.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys, I think I do look at that kind of stuff when it comes to analytics.
Yeah, well, it says you're putting pressure on the rim. You're actually getting downhill most of the time, or
Yeah, a lot of other analytics, especially in college, just have way too much noise. But
yeah, I'm not like a box plus minus type guy.
Right. Yeah, me either.
And that's what I feel like a lot of people look at. So Cooper's is really impressive. I still have Cooper number 1, but it's a legitimate conversation. It's a legitimate conversation, which I didn't expect being the case.
Mm-hmm.
I can go first for this one, my 6 through 10.
Yeah, go ahead.
At 6, I have Derek Queen.
Okay.
I almost put him at 5. At 7, I have Boogie Fland. At 8, you're going to find this funny. But at 8, I have Jeremiah Fears.
Okay.
At 9, I have Asa Newell. And at 10, I have Igor Demon.
All right.
What's your 6 through 10? And we can talk about some of these guys.
All right. So at 6, I have Igor still. I obviously concerned with once he played some good teams, not playing as well. But I think that's still something where I think maybe his beginning of the season was a little too good, and this is obviously not as bad as he is. So I think it's somewhere in the middle. And I think with how young he is, that he can figure that out. And I like his passing, his size, his shooting. Those things didn't go anywhere. You know what I mean? So.
I mean, he just has to play better against better competition.
Yeah.
Right. Just name your 7 to 10, and then we can talk.
All right.
Then we can
All
talk
right.
about
And then 7, I have BJ Edgecombe. 8, Trey Johnson. 9, I have Derek Queen. And 10, I still have Nolan Traore, just making it in my top 10. But I'm still, that's my least happy I'm with.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get. So 7 through 10, just say their last names again, so I can remember.
Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, Queen, and Traore.
Traore, got you. So I got Boogie Fland at 7. I bumped him up a ton. I like the way he gets into his shots. I like the pace he plays with. He's quick. He's crafty. Like, he has some legitimate upside to me. I also think he's a good combination of high floor, high upside, because despite being listed at 6'2", he has looked like a pretty pesty, good defensive player. And I think at the very least, like, he can be like a 3-and-D point guard, but I like that he also has the upside, can knock down threes off the dribble, and I just like the way he gets to his spots. So that's why I have him at 7.
Yep.
And then Queen, you said you had him 9. Yeah,
Yep.
He made a couple threes in a recent game, and then it's like guys closed out on him, and he attacked the closeout so freaking quickly, and just he's so quick, man. Like for a big his size, and his footwork is so good, and it's just like it's like movement pattern stuff with a big, you know. It's if he can knock down threes, he's gonna terrorize teams, I think, because he's just going to be like, okay, so he knocks down threes, you close out on him, he will beat that closeout more times than not, and is a problem, like a freight train going to the rim. It can also really pass and like recognize things quickly. I mean, I could just see him being like Şengün, but maybe even better. Like he has the upside to be like legitimate all-star big offensively as like a 20-10-5 guy. Maybe even more of a scorer. I don't know what his ceiling is. It's hard to put a ceiling on him, you know?
Yeah, it's just do everything kind of big, and those guys are always useful.
I'm interested to see if he's can play the 4 in the league, because if you're Portland and you're sitting there, like, let's say they fall and draft 9th, 10th, whatever, and Derek Queen's on the board. Let's say you move 8 and you move Robert Williams. Would be getting a guy like Derek Queen who could be your backup center, like a good contrast to Donovan Clingan, but then like if he really pans out, you could see him starting at the 4 next to Clingan. So it's not like he's stuck as the backup, or he would have to start ahead of Clingan, and Clingan would be stuck at the backcourt backup. Like, could those two guys play together? Because then in that case, like, maybe you take a guy like Derek Queen if you're drafting at 8 or 9 if you're Portland.
Yeah. So kind of a weird couple. I do see like a little bit of Şengün in his game, like just like it's a good footwork, like do everything.
Yeah.
And then it also kind of reminds me of this player we talked about a lot last year. If he was actually power forward or center size, how much better of a prospect he'd be. But he does remind me of Dylan Jones.
Dylan Jones?
Or what's his name from Weber State? Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan Jones.
Yeah.
Derek Queen does?
Yeah, like Dylan Jones was like do everything type of guy, but he's just undersized, you know, like but he's like Derek Queen's like if Dylan Jones was actually 6'9" or 6'10" and could maybe play
quicker.
power forward.
Like I think Derek Queen is like probably quicker than him, which is crazy because he's taller. Yeah. But no, I think like some of like the skill traits, I see what you're talking about. For sure. And that's the thing is like Dylan Jones has to be able to shoot, and he's not shooting well right now. Derek Queen doesn't have to be able to shoot threes because he's a big. So that's where it's like, okay, I would feel more confident in that. His shot does look kind of weird. It's just one of those things where, like, man, if he can figure out how to shoot, and he's so gifted and so skilled, it's like I kind of am willing to bet that he'll find a way to knock down threes.
Right.
And defensively is a question, but like here's the thing: if you're drafting a defensive, a big man that might be a below-average defensive player, they need to have like a lot of upside offensively, and that's what he has. So I like him. Fears, just to touch on him. Yeah, he's shifty. He's playing super well right now. The three-point shot is below 30%. Maybe it's up above 30% after his last big game, but that's kind of the question for me.
It just doesn't seem like he's that low when you watch him play. And
that's
like
just where
takes
it's like
so many bad ones.
Yeah, that's just where it's like, okay, what is he shooting at the end of the year? He's shifty. He's just probably 6'3", so it's like, okay, does he actually have enough point guard skill to be like a point guard, or is he just like a scoring combo undersized guy? Because there's a lot of really gifted scoring combo guards in the NBA that don't seem to have much value, at least on the trade market, right? So Is that his role, or is he actually like he can be your lead guard and like be a step above, somebody like Anfernee Simons or somebody like Colin Sexton or somebody like I don't know,
Yeah.
Cam Thomas even. But Cam Thomas is scoring the ball ridiculously well, but it's like he's on a bad team and nobody really views him as a star, even though he's averaging, 26, 27 a game. So, just the archetype is why I'm not like a little bit higher on him, but he's very shifty, very creative, and I think he'll be able to create separation and get to his shots in the NBA. So the only two players that I had that you didn't were Boogie Fland and Asa Newell. Instead, you had VJ Edgecombe and Nolan Traore. I do not have VJ Edgecombe in my top 10.
Yeah.
Do you want to name your 11 through 15?
Sure. 11, I have Ben Seraph. Once kind of like Igor, just big guard that can handle the ball and pass and shoot. I just value that. So like to see him add some strength and see what he can do as he learns the game a little more and matures. 12, this is the guy that's, other than Fears, that's quickly rising up my board. Josan Sanin from Arizona State. Love this guy's game so far, shooting over 50% from three. That's probably not gonna last, but he's been lights out shooting the ball, and I really like watching him play.
I thought I was bold putting him in the end of my first round because I see him in the second, but I have him in the first.
Okay.
So I respect that.
Join the party, man.
Yeah. I do need to watch a little bit more of him. Like I said, this is fluid, but yeah, I mean, he's shooting the ball great, and he's a big guard, and like definitely has some intriguing aspects of his game that I need to tap into more for sure. So.
And then I have Kaman Malik at 13. 14, I have our guy Cam Jones.
Hell yeah.
Been moving him up as he just continues to put up insane numbers.
Yep.
And then 15, Noah Sengue.
Got you. All right. So my 11 through 15. At 11, I have Cam Jones. Thought about putting him in my top 10. I might be there. Soon. Because I think he was 13th on my last board. I love Cam Jones. So me and Eric both love Cam Jones right now. At 12, I have VJ Edgecombe. 13, I have Con Knipple. 14, I have Kaman Maluak. And 15, I have Liam McNeely. And like Knipple, Maluak, McNeely, they kind of feel like the guys where it's like, okay, McNeely just had a big game against Gonzaga, but they're kind of role players that might, in McNeely's case, might be doing a little bit more than he'll do in the league. But they're role players that probably have pretty high floors. I just don't have the confidence in their ceilings like some other players, so they're kind of grouped together for me.
Yeah, that's why some of those guys are a little lower on my board at the moment.
Edgecombe, I've been talking about his red flags for a while. He just feels athleticism reliant, and I don't think he's actually 6'5". I think he's more 6'3", but he's definitely not a point guard to me. He's a shooting guard. He's an undersized shooting guard that relies upon his athleticism, isn't like a good shooter, hasn't been playing well in college. Like, there's just so many red flags to him.
On offense.
On offense, but it's like, okay, so defensively he could be really, really good, but it's like, if you're drafting the top 10, you're drafting for star. You're drafting for stardom, for that overall upside. And I guess Edgecombe has a really high ceiling if he figures it all out offensively, but I just don't have confidence in him approaching that ceiling. I think it's much more likely that he's like just an athletic defensive guard, and that's why I don't have him in my top 10.
Yeah, I still have him up there because he's been elite defensively, like one of the best defensive players in the country on the perimeter, and that to me is carrying him. And if you combine that with my belief that he will figure some of this stuff out, I've seen him play in situations in the past outside of college where he has taken over games offensively and does look like that star. So I I see it being a possibility. So like I think at this point of the draft, I think that's where mid to late lottery is you take chances on those guys.
My question is, if he's 6'3", I know he's a great defender, but if he's 6'3", how impactful can he be defensively? If that's his size, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
just an uphill battle. Even if you're really, really good, it's like you're in for a tough time if you're gonna guard, Tatum or LeBron or.
But
how much is he gonna guard LeBron? But just like that big forward that can score, I find a little bit more value in guys that can switch up easier and like try and give guys like those hell. And there is some undersized guys, Marcus Smart, Lou Dort, that can switch up and give those types of guys problems. But both Marcus Smart and Lou Dort are built like football players, and Edgecombe is extremely skinny. So, or maybe not extremely, but like he's definitely doesn't have the same build as a Lou Dort or Marcus Smart. So, is he versatile enough defensively? Because I think there's value in that.
You know who I feel like he's comparable to?
Who?
Drew Holiday. And I'll take that.
Yeah. I see that. I think, he definitely needs to get stronger. Which he probably will. So, but Drew Holiday is like so special defensively. He's playing great defensively. I don't have like full confidence that he can be that elite just because that's like really high. That's like a really high bar. But I do see.
But someone who's like not the greatest offensive player, but can still be a all-star level guard because he's.
If it wasn't
size-wise,
if it wasn't for his defense, he would be back half of the first round right now, for sure.
Yeah,
because offense hasn't looked that great.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have Knipple or McNeely top 15?
No.
What are your reservations? You'll list them, but like let's talk about them since they're in my top 15. Like, what are your reservations with those two guys? I feel like they kind of have some similar traits as like 6'7" shooters that can play make a little bit off the bounce. And
yeah, I just, I mean, those kind of guys are fine, but I think as in this league at small forward, I'd rather have the Tamani Kamara type of defensive guys that you hope can be a 3-and-D guy versus a 3-point shooter who might be kind of a liability on defense and isn't someone who you can like have like what Tamani does and play a guy full court or guard the other team's best perimeter player, especially if you have offensive-minded guards. So I think it kind of depends on the team a little bit, whether you can get away with it or not. Like, I don't know, you put one of these guys on a team like the Cavs who have good big defenders or something, like they're probably higher on my list if I'm doing a Cavs board, but I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced on their shooting yet. That in theory they're good shooters.
Yeah.
I don't know yet.
I just feel like this is kind of similar to the conversations that we had about Dalton Connect, Jared McCain, even though he's a guard, and Grady Dick in the past couple of years. And Grady Dick has had some serious flashes this year, and I didn't like Grady Dick coming into the draft, but that take looks strong right now.
I had him a little higher than you, I think.
Yeah, I just feel like this is kind of similar where it's like, oh, yeah, they're shooters, but they're not good defenders and off the dribble. Like, can they actually do a whole lot? And, I mean, shooting is just at such a premium in the NBA that it gives them a high floor, and I mean, Jared McCain looks like a star when he plays this season. Grady Dick has had some star moments where it's like they figure out how to do some things off the bounce. Like, why can't that be Knipple or McNeely is the question that I have right now. And
Mhm.
I'm not
Well,
saying like I'm not I'm kind of playing devil's advocate because I have them like
right.
13 and 15, but that's just what I think about with those two guys.
Yeah, so just looked up. McCain shot 41.4% from three last year, almost 89% from the free throw line. McNeely right now is at 34.5%, 85% free throw shooter. So, I mean, obviously he's not a
Yeah.
34% three-point shooter. But,
Knipple's at 32%. I just think they're
yeah,
both better shooters. Knipple's shooting 95% from the free throw line, though.
right. Yeah, that's
So,
insane.
yeah.
Um, all I'm saying is there's guys like Stanham right now who is actually shooting the ball lights
Yeah.
out. Like so to me, if those guys end up being closer to 40% three-point shooters, and they're both on teams where they shouldn't not get good shots, right? Like no one's focusing on Knipple as the number one defensive attention wise. So I think for me to move them up, I just want to see them start to put together a
Yeah.
stretch of games where they're shooting a little better than they are.
Yeah, I just think those two guys are a little bit different than some of the players I named just because they're both 6'7" and have some
Hmm.
like playmaking feel.
Yeah,
And that's where it starts to get a little bit intriguing.
it's
In that size, they don't have to blow by people. Like they can use their body, use their size to to get some shots in the paint, and then with the playmaking feel and like Knipple, I like his little turnaround mid range jumper. It's
like Deni.
yeah, it's intriguing in that way. So I'm trying to make sure I don't underrate these guys' upside because somebody like Jared McCain, I was just like the way he's looked in the NBA, he's just like guy that shoots threes, but
Well,
then also is just super creative, crafty, like plays his own pace, but just like finds ways to get to spots. And like Knipple, I could see a guy that being a guy that's just like crafty and good enough to one day to find a way to get to his spots. You couple that with a great 3-point shot and some size, like maybe his upside is a little underrated. So that's just some of the things I think about with those guys, and that's why I have a tough time with them.
for sure. When I look at McCain, uh, and I think about like why we didn't have him higher, what we missed on. I saw like the games where uh like Maxey missed and McCain blew up earlier
Yeah.
in the season. He showed like he was a true point guard and an elite scorer like at the same time. Whereas, and I,
You know what was funny is last year it was said like, yeah, McCain has more creation ability. He's just on a team with a bunch of point guards, so they don't have
right.
him do that.
Hmm.
And that looks true.
Yeah, but that's the problem. It's like that's why it's frustrating sometimes watching teams that have like four or five
Yeah.
prospects um and I said this before last time we did a big board, I think, but it pisses me off that Baylor had Jeremy Roach transfer because I'd love to see Edgecombe just be the unquestioned ball handler there and just take over and see if he has that creation. I don't know, but
Yeah.
anyways, Roach was there messing up with McCain's creation last year, and so yeah, it felt like he was a Gary Trent type
Yeah.
player who did nothing but shoot,
Yeah.
and so I don't think you. I mean, maybe you could see that from its high school tape or AAU stuff or something back before Duke, but nothing watching Duke last year gave me the impression that McCain could do any of that stuff or was allowed to do any of that stuff. So I don't know. I think it's just one of those cases where we weren't privy to that information prior to the draft,
Yeah.
whereas a lot of teams he worked out for probably saw it in workouts or something.
Yeah. It's just like how do you identify that next time,
Hmm.
So these are kind of guys that fit that bill, and it's going to be tricky evals for me. Do you want to say you're 16 through 20?
Yeah. So at 16, I have Asian Newell, 17, Boogie Fland, 18, Hugo Gonzalez, 19, Will Riley, and 20, Zavonimore Ivisic.
Alrighty. At 16, I have Danny Wolf.
All right.
At 17, I have Hugo Gonzalez. At 18, I have Nolan Traore. At 19, I have Will Riley. At 20, I have Noah Sengwe.
All right.
Do you have Danny Wolf in your first round?
I have him. Yes. Yes.
Okay. We can talk about him when you list him. We can save it, and I can get into why I have him 16. I mean, I think with somebody like him, it's especially after some of the stuff I said about Derek Queen, it's kind of obvious. But Nolan Traore, I mean, I haven't seen a whole lot of him. I haven't seen a whole lot of him in like his new situation because he's playing overseas. I wish he played in college because he probably would have went to Gonzaga. But and then I would have him number 1 right now. No, I'm just kidding. But he just has not played well.
God say goodbye.
Basically, the book on Nolan Traore is he's not good enough with his left hand. He's very right hand dominant, and nothing stands out enough, like shooting, athleticism, being able to get to the rim, and I get it because it was like he dominated Hoop Summit. Remember?
With insane players in that game too.
Yeah, with insane players in that game.
He looked way better than Dylan Harper.
He looked really good, but then I was like, okay, how is he even doing? Like, he just was in that game was like finding a way to be impactful, and I was just kind of confused because like none of it like really jumped off the page to me, and like, oh yeah, he's just super athletic, super quick, this that, like, just looked like really really high feel, right? How far can that take you? I don't know. How good of a shooter he is, I don't know. He's one of the tougher guys to eval because he's playing overseas too. I don't know what to do with him. But the book right now is just he's really struggled, and hopefully he starts to play better. He's had some really good moments before this. So is that more indicative of what he'll be in the NBA, or is him playing at the highest level he's ever played at right now more indicative? I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of like Edgecombe, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know what to do with him. You had Will Riley. I have him 19. Where did you have him?
19 as well.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. We agree with that. He's big and skilled and can pass. And I feel like normally he's the type of player I'd really like. I've watched some Illinois games, and I feel like the games that I've watched are the games where he's like less aggressive and kind of disappears.
Well, they got some players, man.
Yeah, they got some players. I don't know. He's not like super quick. It doesn't seem like he gets to the rim a whole lot. Doesn't really use his body enough when he drives, I feel like. He shoots almost as many threes as twos, which is fine. It's just like you're 6'8". But I don't know. He's gonna be one of those tougher evals for me as well. What do you think of him?
His 3-point percentage has dipped down to 37.5%. Like to see that be a little higher, like it was. He's had his last 3 games, I think he's 0 for 12 from 3, and then before that, I'll pull it up. 0 for 4, 0 for 2, 0 for 6, 1 for 5, 3 for 9. So really good 3-point percentage is just taking a dip these last 5 games. So that's actually impressive.
That's relying a lot. So maybe I'm being too critical in terms of like not using his body, but
only 70% 3-point or free throw shooter. So is that that needs to improve too? But
there's just something about him that like gives me the ick in terms of his game. I don't know what it is, but
I don't get the ick from him. I just
the ick might be too strong, but there's just some of this game where it's like, I just don't see him. Like, I just don't see the upside.
Yeah.
Like, okay, solid 3-point shooter, can like make a play off the bounce, like has some skill. I just don't see it at like an elite level ever. Mm-hmm. This is kind of the takeaway I get. Fair. Like good role player. He's like this guy that like seems like he should have a ton of upside. Like he's 6'8", can shoot, like has some passing flashes and some finishes here and there, and it's like, yeah, you tie that all together and make that even better. I mean, yeah, he has upside. Theoretically, he has upside. When I watch him, I don't feel like he has the same upside as he should theoretically, is I guess the best way to explain him for me. Asengwe, I have at 20. With overseas guys, you know, I've watched some like clips, and Asengwe, I saw him play against the Blazers. He had that good game. He's one of the guys that I need to do a little bit more research on, so I'm not ready to talk a whole lot about him. 21.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Nathan, member for 23-month message, says, hello, gentlemen. Merry Christmas. Also, Jake Lehman. What's up, Nathan? Thank you. Javon, member
Christmas.
for 13 months, message. Dylan Harper got more aura than flags, so he better.
It's all about the aura, man. It's all about the aura. Shout out to you guys. Sorry it took so long to read your member messages, but we're going in on our big boards. So appreciate you guys being channel members. We'll have a new announcement for channel members coming up soon related to members-only draft content. Alrighty, are you ready for 21 through 25?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. At 21, I have Colin Murray Boyles. At 22, I have Ben Serif. At 23, I have Adu Thiero. At 24, I have Nick Clifford. At 25, I have Isaiah Evans.
All right. For me, I have 21, Colin Knippel. 22, Colin Murray Boyles. 23, Tyrese Proctor. 24, Liam McNeely. And 25, I have Xavier Lee.
Whoa! We agree on Xavier Lee. I'm a little
you like Lee
lower
too?
on him, but that's crazy. Cool.
I actually
cool.
had him up here last stream, but we didn't go that far.
Yeah. No, he's the next list I say he's on it. So okay, sick. It's always cool when we agree on a player that's like he's back end of second rounds right now.
Yeah.
But like speak of a movement pattern guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is the ultimate guy. Anyway, we'll wait until I list them. Colin Murray Boyles has let me pull up his numbers.
He's just productive, man.
Yeah, he's productive and quick. I just like what is his role? Or maybe it should be obvious, just like, okay, he can knock down a three occasionally and like will finish and find ways to put the ball in the hoop and be effective. He's almost a throwback player to me in a way. Just like 6'7", but it's almost all on the interior, and like post ups and this and that, and just super good finisher, efficient. He screams like high floor, lower ceiling to me, like a safe pick at this point in the draft. What other players you want to talk about? I got Thiero. I just wish he was shooting better from three. If Thiero was like a 38% three-point shooter and like I trusted his shot like that, he would probably be back end of the lottery for me. But he's shooting 24% from three.
Yeah, just can't shoot at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
young.
we already talked about Knippel and McNeely. Talked a lot about last time we did this about why I have Proctor so high.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yep. Serif, I just don't see it with Serif. Nothing really jumps out to me. He's not the most athletic guy. Shooting, like he's a solid shooter, but like is he a good shooter? I don't know what he's shooting right now overseas, but that's just kind of my thoughts on him. I know he had some good moments in the Blazers preseason game. I just think like he's gonna be a little bit more off ball than an on ball guy in the league. I know he's doing a lot on the ball right now, but I think he projects a little bit more as an off ball guy. Than like somebody that's like creating all the time. So that's why I'm a little bit lower on him. Nick Clifford should end up being a good role player. Rebounds well, defends well, can score. Like just kind of has a well-rounded game. can pass. Could end up being like a top 6 to 10 player from this draft. I would not be surprised. He's averaging 16 points, 10.5 rebounds, over 3 assists, shooting 35% from 3, and he's a 6'5 guard. So, he's legit.
Yep.
And then Isaiah Evans, he's 6'6", he's super young. He's not getting much of a chance on the Duke team he's playing on right now. I watched the game where he hit like 6 threes in the first half, though.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing 13 minutes a game, averaging almost... This is absurd. He's playing 13 minutes a game, averaging almost 9 points per game. So, per 40 minutes, he's averaging 26 points per game. It's just kind of crazy because he doesn't play much, but scores almost 10 a game. But just really gifted shooter, and he's like a legit 6'6", and has scoring upside. And I just feel like could be one of those guys where you take him, he barely plays, but he can shoot the ball and has upside off the bounce. And if you develop that properly, could have a really high ceiling, and is just being held back playing on a Duke team with a lot of talent.
Yeah, I'll get to him in a minute, but man, I love his shooting form. Just comes in, just quick release, just really, really cool.
And doesn't hesitate. He's just super confident. 13 minutes a game, he shoots 5 threes a game at 50%. I love that. He'll at least be probably a elite shooter, potentially.
Yeah.
Which is a good role player, right? So, what upside does he have? I don't know. We barely got to see him at Duke, so... he was just very highly touted in high school, so that's a name to watch for sure.
Yeah.
All right. My 26 through 30, you already know 2 of the players on it. Okay. At 26, I have Zvonimir Ivisic. At 27, I have Xavier Lee. At 28, I have Janai Broom. At 29, I have Drake Powell. At 30, I have Josan Sanon.
All right. For me, I have 2 guys that aren't on the Fanspo draft big board creator yet. At 26, I have Andrei Stojakovic.
Stojakovic.
Love the evolution of his game.
He's been playing really good.
A guy who can score off the bounce. His handles have improved, his shot making has improved. Just really like the way he's looked this year. And at 20,
can I just say something real quick about him? I've seen his numbers lately. I haven't seen him play, but I've seen him putting up these huge numbers, and I'm like, okay, why is he not on more draft boards if he's putting up numbers like this? So it might be just a matter of time because he's been playing great.
Right. And then 27, I have to think about this because they're not actually on my list. 27, I have Thomas Sorber from Georgetown.
Sorber, yeah.
Have you watched this guy play?
Yeah, I watched the Georgetown Syracuse game.
Oh, yeah, I watched that too. Yeah.
I know Hoop Intellect has him at 16. So
yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I don't have him on my board because I just kind of want to see more. But he's had some good moments. He's getting some buzz.
Yeah, 28 of Danny Wolf, 29 Isaiah Evans, and 30 Hunter Salas.
Gotcha. By the way, I have Hunter Salas 31. So,
nice.
Yeah. So, Danny Wolf. So I had him at 16.
Mm-hmm.
A legitimate 7-footer that handles the ball like a point guard and has some shiftiness and can shoot and can pass. I mean, that's a really tough skill set combination to find.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
especially if you can get him in the late first or something.
I know, that's a guy I'd absolutely take a chance on. What is his ceiling? What is his best case scenario? Is it superstardom? Not superstardom, all stardom. Superstardom might be a little bit rich, but could he be gifted enough offensively at his height to be the steal of the draft if he's drafted in the latter part of the first round? I mean, he's 7 foot. If you guys have not watched him play, he's 7 foot. He literally will like play point guard. He's like a 7 foot point guard for Michigan, and handles the ball like super smoothly, super well. Can turn the corner, and it's like when you're 7 feet and have a little bit of shiftiness and can handle the ball like that. It's not like you gotta blow by guys. You just gotta get a little bit of a step. You're 7 feet tall. If you can work your way to the rim, like you'll finish over people, you'll extend, you'll finish around people. Like he's just very high feel and very skilled for a 7-footer, and that's super intriguing to me. So that's why I have him at 16.
Yeah, I'm just a little worried about. I don't know if his, like, despite having everything he said, his handles for his size, all that kind of stuff, he doesn't have a good like shot creation feel, in my opinion. If he figures out how to use his handles and his size to score a little bit better, I think that he might have a higher ceiling. But obviously, he'd be much higher on boards if you.
Yeah. I mean, he can pass, so it's like his 3-point percentage isn't the best, but he like takes some threes off the dribble and some tougher threes. So it's like, okay, if he can knock down a 3 pass and like handle a bit, that's already probably a really good backup big, with potential for more. Even if it's not like the best shot creation feel, it's like any shot creation feel with that skill set at 7 foot is intriguing to me. So. But yeah, size plus skills. I like size plus skills, man. You know, I have Derek Queen pretty high. I have Danny Wolf pretty high. So, it's just the new wave in the NBA, right? So, let's see. Who else? Have you named your 26 to 30?
Yeah.
Am I tripping? Okay, yeah. So, Avicic, just 3-and-D. Shot blocker, 3-point shooter, like pretty obvious there. We talked about him. Xavier Lee, Eric. Talk about why you like him, because I'm actually excited to hear you talk about him.
I don't like. Okay, I'm not comparing him to this guy, but he plays a lot like Steph Curry played at Davidson, just the way he shoots and moves and stuff like that. I'm not saying he's going to be Steph Curry. Obviously, he'd be much higher if I thought he was going to be Steph Curry. He's just like the Princeton version of that, you know. And I don't know. I like the way he, anytime you have guys who can shoot off the bounce like that, create their own shots, just have really good balance when they pull up off the dribble, things like that. I just like the way he commands the offense and runs the team, and feels like he has some upside to be a good player. Kind of maybe like a Devin Carter from last year, you know, kind of not necessarily like super confident that he could be that player, but there is a chance he could be like a lead guard on a team in the NBA, and that's really good when you start talking about this area of the draft.
Yeah, he's unique in the way he moves, man. Like the way he gets into some of his shots, and there's moves he'll make where it's just like, yeah, the move is normal, but like, how do I even explain it? Like there will be plays where he'll like be looking to pass and like be dribbling like facing the wing, and then he'll pick up the ball, square up, and get into his shot, which is like a normal thing, but he'll do it like as fast as I've ever seen anyone do it, like ever. It's he just has moments where it's like, wow, where like it's hard to even explain. So he's one of those guys, like his highlight tape super impressive. And you know, I like my movement pattern, guys. He's quick. He can get into the paint. He's averaging 5.5 assists per game. He's shooting 40% from 3, and his release is maybe the fastest in the entire draft. So it's like, okay, you get a guard, you know, 6'3" guard that can really shoot off the dribble, really get to his shot quickly, and then like super shifty and creative enough, like can use hesitations, and especially in the league, if he's able to shoot like that, like he'll be able to use hesitations really well and get into the paint where there's more space. he has upside for sure. And this time of year, it's like it's always fun to like really take a look at guys like that because it's like I'm always enamored by the thought of who can you find in the late first round that will be an all-star? Or who can you find in the second round that will be an all-star one day? And the first time I watched Jalen Tyson, it was like, ooh, that might be that guy. But last year's draft was definitely a lot worse. Like, Xavier Lee being talked about as like, well, let me just see where he is on Tankathon's big board, or mock draft, if he even is. Because I think Tankathon has like a pretty consistently consensus mock draft. On Tankathon's mock draft, he's not even on it. He's not even on it. Like, there is multiple boards where it's like he's not even on it. And I just don't understand. Like, so he's a guy you got to go watch. He's one of the funnest players in college basketball. Extremely crafty, creative, all that good stuff I look for. Janai Broom, I just think will be a good backup big. You know, the three-point shot, he shot 35% from three last year. Was not much of a shooter before that. It's down to 29% this year. That needs to improve. But he's averaging 18 points per game. He's one of the best players in the country. He's a little undersized at the center spot, but I just think he has one of the higher floors at this point in the draft where it's like you get yourself a big that can come off the bench for 25 minutes a game, will give you some buckets, will rebound, can pass, hopefully shoot the ball. So it's just big man with skills. You know, I wish he was 7 feet tall instead of 6'10", maybe 6'9". So he might be a little undersized for the center position, which is why I'm talking about him in more of a bench role. But I do think whenever you get a big that has a really good feel for the game, strong, just knows how to play and has some skill, can pass and just finish, finds ways to score. He's also averaging almost 3 blocks a game, so he can block some shots as well. Like, that's an intriguing package of skills. So that's why I have him at the back of my first.
Yep.
Where do you have Broom?
I don't have Broom on my board yet. To me, I wonder. I agree with everything you said about him, but it's like been a gradual improvement outside of that 3-point shooting going down in now his 5th year in college. So I just wonder how many bigs, if they were in their 5th year, would start to look like he does, like just a veteran out there amongst boys. And obviously he's like really strong and stuff. So like I wonder if it's just a product a little bit of just him being almost 23 years old, you know, or will be 23 by the time he plays next year.
Yeah, I mean, I also just think, you know, at least last year, veteran college bigs, I know Klingon only played 2 years, but, you know, Edey, we were definitely too low on him, it seems like, right now with Edey. You know, they're different players, but I just feel like there maybe is too much bias against bigs that play many years in college. I just like his feel. I just feel like he'll find ways to be effective in at least a bench role and play some minutes. So I do understand the concern. I don't think he has to shoot to be effective. I think he can kind of just be like a play finisher, you know, post up occasionally, but like short role playmaker is an interesting role for him as well. Pick and roll big.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's not flashy, but it gets the job done. So.
Yep.
And then Drake Powell just had a lot of hype going into the year. Do you have him in your second round?
I haven't seen enough of him.
Yeah, he's just kind of quiet, but he has had a couple moments lately, and he can shoot. He's 6'6", seems like a solid defender, so 3-and-D role. That's why I still have him hanging on to the back end of my first round, but I'm not thrilled by him by any means.
I've been kind of avoiding North Carolina for some reason. I hate watching them play.
Yeah. I feel that.
I don't like. Who's their point guard?
Elliot Cadeau.
Is it Cadet, or do they still have the? Who was their point guard last year?
Elliot Cadeau.
No, the guy who was
They
like.
got Trimble. Seth Trimble.
No, there was a guy who was like all ACC last year. Like,
R.J. Davis.
yeah, RJ
Yeah.
Davis. I hate watching RJ Davis.
Making me like guess their whole
Sorry.
team. I can do it. Yeah, R.J. Davis. He's do you want to know his stat line this year? You'll laugh because it kind of vindicates your point there. 19 points per game, 4.5 boards, 4 assists. Okay, great. He's shooting 37% from the field and 25% from 3. 48% from 2, 25% from 3. Now, last year he was 40% from 3, so he's just not shooting the ball well. And last year he was like one of the best players in the country, average 21 a game, but he's just like a prototypical college
Yeah, that's what I'm
guard
saying,
that does
like-
not translate. Like Caleb
No.
Love, he's
Yeah,
one of
exactly.
those types of guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Caleb Love is not looking good this year either. He's shooting 38% from the field and 29% from 3, so both those guys kind of having similar years. Caleb Love used to play.
That's what I don't understand. You're in like your 14th year of college. How are you not?
I
better?
know. Yeah, like this is crazy because both those guys are in their 5th year. Their first 3 years they played together at North Carolina. So North Carolina gets these guys to just stay around for forever, like Baycott, good old Armando Baycott, who played there 5 years, felt like he was there for forever. Yeah. So I'll just go down through 40, although this range is very loose and fluid. Starting at 31, I got Hunter Salas, Jameer Watkins. I still like him as a role player. Ian Jackson, LeBaron Philon, Cannon Catchings, Carter Bryant, Rocco Zakarski, Ryan Kalkbrenner, KJ Lewis, Mackenzie Mbako.
Where's Tyon Grant Foster? I'm so disappointed in you.
He's been awful this year.
He's going to be like 29.
No, he's been terrible this year, Eric.
Dude.
It's like he forgot how to play.
You have to put him on there just for.
No, I can't,
Yeah.
dude. He should have went into the draft last year. He might have got drafted late second. There is no chance he gets drafted with how he's.
Did he stay?
Yeah, he stayed at Grand Canyon too. Like he didn't even go up. He literally stayed at Grand Canyon. He's played in 8 games, averaging 29 minutes per game. He's scoring 14 points, 6 boards, 2.5 assists. He's shooting 30% from the field and 15% from 3. I don't know what the hell happened. Because he almost led them to a win over Alabama in the NCAA tournament. Alabama made the Final Four. Like he averaged 20 a game last year. He shot 45% from the field, 33% from 3. It was like super shifty, like big. Dude, he goes back when he shouldn't. He's already like 24 years old and he just falls off a cliff. Like I don't understand what the hell happened to him, man.
I still have someone in this range that I just cannot understand how he's not better, and he's having a horrible year too. And
Who's
should have came out in the draft last year as well.
Who's that?
Coleman Hawkins, dude.
Oh.
What is with this freaking dude?
Nah, you can't
That
even
guy-
have him on your board
That
anymore,
guy
bro.
pisses me off, dude.
He'll find a way to go back. Yeah, he's you know how you'll have those guys where it's like, oh, don't do it, right? Like Baylor Shireman last year, but like Coleman Hawkins at that point is that guy for me.
Yeah.
Um,
He's tall. He's like tough to guard. Like he should be a good 3-point shooter. He can pass the ball like crazy. Like he could basically be like a 6'8", 6'9" point guard at times. But he just sucks. Like I don't understand. Like
yeah,
but then you like see him play at like the draft combine or something, and he looks like a legit NBA player. I don't.
yeah.
Maybe he's one of those guys who's better in the NBA than in college, but that makes even less sense that he went back then.
Yeah, nah, I don't. He
I
goes to Kansas State.
know. What the heck?
I
Imagine if he was still in Illinois with all those guys.
know. Well, that's probably why he left, because he wouldn't get the ball enough. But he's been been bad.
But wouldn't it be better if he was on a team where it was just like good and that he didn't get the ball that much than
Yeah.
going somewhere where he should?
He lost all his aura. He used to have aura, Eric.
Yeah.
You don't have aura no more.
It's important to Javon, I guess.
So, you know a name that a podcast put me onto, and just like he's kind of like a statistical darling right now. But like I need to watch more of him because he seems like a guy that probably should be on draft boards just with his statistical profile. The last guy I said this about was Desmond Bane, and he got loosely compared to Desmond Bane.
Uh-oh, you hated Desmond Bane.
I know. I mean, that was ridiculous. I didn't like his shooting for him. So, have you heard of Max Scholga?
It sounds familiar.
He plays at VCU. He played at Utah State for 3 years, and the last 2 years plays at VCU.
Yeah, I haven't seen him play.
6'4" guard. He's averaging 17 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He's shooting 44% from 3. He's 40% for his career. He's shooting 59% from 2. About 50-50 split between 3s and 2s. And basically the whole thought is like, oh yeah, he's an elite shooter and can pass a bit and rebound and like do little things and you know, I don't know like his creation because I've barely, you know, watched VCU the past couple of years that he's been there, so you know, I've barely seen him play. I don't really remember him, but like that's a name that should be on radars probably. Just as that like super elite shooter. I did not have Caravan in my top 40. He was getting first round buzz before the season, but I don't know. He shooting 42% from 3 this year, 16 a game. I'm
at 35. Yeah,
I don't know, man. He just like people compare him to like, oh, look at Jaime Jaquez, how good he was when he came into the league. Dude, Jaime Jaquez sucks this year. Jaime Jaquez actually sucks this year. Just like, okay, he'll be a role player that can probably knock down threes. You know, I don't really like his shooting for him. And it's one of those guys where it's like, okay, deep threes. Is he really gonna be a 40% 3-point shooter in the league? Or is he just a better college shooter? But just like everything else, yeah, he's solid, but he's not special. And he'll probably be a bench piece, but I do not see him being more at all.
Yeah, that's about where I have him.
Yeah, I have him like my top 40 is basically the only ranks that matter. I've Dink Pate at 41 right now. That's where I start to list guys that I just like have no idea how to rank or haven't watched enough. Like Dink Pate, JT Toppin, Noah Penda is somebody I need to pay attention to. Caravan's at 45, Proctor's at 44, Kobe Brea, Hanson Yang. I don't even know if he would come over in the first place. You know, good old Izon Almansa. Remember when he was getting top 10 buzz? Man, he's fallen off. You know, Jace Richardson has been getting some buzz, Eric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's someone who I haven't had a chance to watch Michigan State this year.
Yeah, he's. You got Cannon Catchings has been getting a little bit of buzz. I had him at 35. I've seen John Mobley's name tossed around. Like Yaxel Lendenberg is intriguing. You know, and then you get down into like the Momcilovic's, you know, Donnie Freeman, Walter Clayton, Dalen Swain has gotten a little bit of buzz. He plays for Xavier. Michael Rusic. I don't know if you've ever watched him, but 6'10", can kind of shoot. Kind of intriguing. Need to watch more of him. So working on filling this out. I think, we did top 30 collectively. I think we can do top 40 collectively next time. Maybe even get into top 50. So I'm going to be watching as much college basketball as I can. Well, how much college basketball is there over the next 2 weeks?
Well, there's usually some.
Hopefully there's a lot, because I think like after tomorrow I work only 2 out of 11 days, so I finally have an opportunity to get ahead on some channel stuff I need to do, and have time to scout, have time to watch games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting.
Nice.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. Damn, it's already past midnight. That's crazy. You got Cincinnati versus Dayton. That's 19 versus 22 in the country. I don't know if do any prospects play for either team?
For Dayton and who?
Cincinnati.
Mm,
Is Cincinnati back? You remember when they were like always a top 2 seed, 3 seed?
yeah. I don't know.
Texas A&M doesn't really have anybody prospect-wise. They got like Wade Taylor, but he's not. He's like one of those college guards
Yeah.
that will probably be on a 2-way. Saturday, you got a ton of games. You got Florida. Honestly, Eric, if I had to fill out a March Madness bracket right now, I would probably have Florida winning it all.
Really?
Dude, have you seen them?
Not enough. I watched parts of the game the other day.
Athletic with super good guard play. They're 11-0, and they've just dominated. You got
Oh, you know who Cincinnati has?
who?
Sorry if someone brought this up in chat already. That's where Dylan Mitchell went.
Oh yeah, good old Dylan Mitchell. The Blazers worked him out. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, he probably should have entered the draft that year.
I'm sad that Dayton doesn't have a prospect this year.
I know.
I'm like,
you've always
Dayton's
liked Dayton.
Dayton's my team. I watched Obi Toppin for a while, and then Deron Holmes.
So Florida has Walter Clayton, Elijah Martin, who he played at FSU, right? Or not FSU, FAU. Yeah, FAU for 4 years. Elijah Martin, when they went on that Final Four run. So he's done that before. Walter Clayton is like the only prospect on Florida. You got Will Richard though. He's a fun player, 6'4" guard. I just like their guard play. You got good old Alex Condon from Perth, Washington. Yeah, Florida looks really good right now. That would just be the team that I have winning it all right now if I had to fill out a bracket. I don't like going with the favorites anyway, so. But yeah, Saturday you got a million games. You got Duke, Georgia Tech at 9 a.m. Pacific if you want to watch Cooper Flagg. You got Marquette Xavier at 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturday if you want to watch Cam Jones, Dalen Swain. You got UConn at 9 a.m. versus Butler. You got Caravan playing in that game. And then 11 a.m. you got Michigan State playing Florida Atlantic. Michigan State, Jace Richardson. That's an opportunity for maybe you, Eric, if you wanna catch up on him. 11 a.m. you also got Wake Forest, Clemson, Hunter South playing that game. 12 p.m. you got North Carolina, UCLA. UCLA's ranked 18th. They've been pretty decent, but they don't have anybody that is on draft radars because Ade Mara sucks apparently. Remember when he was like lottery projected in last year's draft, and I remember watching highlights and it's like 7'3", could pass, like decent footwork. Why is he so bad?
I don't know, man.
He plays 10 minutes a game, averages 5.5 points, shooting 68% from the field, and averages over a block per game. It feels like maybe he should play a little bit more. I don't know. You want to know? So Gonzaga has a lot of seniors right now. I feel like he is gonna be a Gonzaga Bulldog one day. I don't know why, but that just seems like the type of transfer they would get and like tap into. 1:30 Saturday, Auburn, Purdue, Janai Broom. Purdue doesn't really have anybody notable. 2:30, you got Kentucky, Ohio State. Kentucky has some like fringe draftable guys. They're not old Kentucky because Calipari left. Ohio State has John Mobley. His name has gotten a little bit of buzz. 5 p.m. You got Oregon. They're ranked 10th. Shout out to them. They don't really got anybody notable. Gonzaga doesn't really have notable. They play at 6. This is just top 25 ranked teams. I wish Gonzaga had somebody notable, but nope, we suck.
Man.
What's up? Oh, you got Rut. Ooh, Eric, you know what game I have to watch on Saturday?
Rutgers versus who?
Rutgers versus Princeton.
Oh, nice.
So you got
Lee
Xavier
versus
Lee
Harper?
versus Dylan Harper.
Let's go.
That is, my girlfriend's like, you're watching Rutgers again? Why are you always watching Rutgers? Oh, like they got 2 of the top 3 prospects. It's like, yeah, we're always watching them. I'm like, yeah, I need to watch them. Both these guys could be Blazers next year, you know? It's funny. That game's on FS1, so that'll be good. Indiana plays in Big Ten Network at 9 a.m. And then you got Maryland Syracuse, so you got Derek Queen at 9 a.m. So basically at 9 a.m. on Saturday, there's like a million games with prospects to watch, to scout. Syracuse doesn't have anybody. Oh no, they got Donnie Freeman.
Yeah.
And JJ Starling's hurt right now, so he's also a guy that's had a little bit of buzz. So yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific time on Saturday if you guys want to catch up on some scouting.
Man. Oh, you mentioned Oregon. I was thinking back to the Beavers Ducks game that the Beavers should have won.
They should.
But did you know, Tori?
What's up?
For those of you that are on BetUS, Oregon State Beavers are 10-0 against the spread this year.
Their basketball team?
They're undefeated against the spread. Yeah.
Oh, well, if you guys want to get on that action, promo code YouTube150 right there on the screen. 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit. 125% bonus on your next two up to $2,000. And I guess the Beavers are guaranteed. Not really. Okay, nothing's guaranteed when you sports bet, but 10-0 against the spread is pretty good. So, and BetUS has every basketball game that like is out there. European. You can find like weird European random leagues over there. They got college basketball as well. So, that's a way to be invested in a game. You know, put some money down on a team or a spread line, just a little bit of money, so you have something to root for while you scout some prospects. That's my idea of a good time, right? Just to make things fun and interesting for you. So you can do that with BetUS. Use that promo code, all that good stuff. Anyway, lots of good draft talk today, and our next big board stream is I'll have to look. By the way, if you're not in our Discord, hit the join link below. There's a Discord link below. Join our Discord. We have event nights scheduled. If you want to participate in our mock-off season, you should be active in our Discord because we generally pick people that are active. Also, you can participate in like call-in nights through there, and mailbags will be coming back at some point through there as well. So make sure you join the Discord. We have a members night coming up on Saturday. And then on next Monday, we'll have a Christmas giveaway. Alex, or why do I call you Alex? What? I was thinking, Eric, you need a Santa hat, and Eric plus Santa sound turned into Alex. I don't know. It's late. It's past midnight. Anyway.
Speaking of Alex, he sent you a Chet Holmgren and Yusuf Nurkic card.
Hell yeah. My two favorite big men ever, other than Klingon and Ayton. Anyway, No, that's dope. Appreciate it, Alex. So, yeah, I can add it to my CJ Ellaby card. Our next big board is actually on January 6th, Eric, so it's not too far away. It's like a little over 2 weeks.
That feels close.
I mean, it's not that close. It's a little over 2 weeks. You can watch a lot of basketball in 2.5 weeks. So,
yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can. So, yeah, you can view our event schedule for the entire season on our Discord. So if you just go to Discord, Blazer schedule, you can view it all. Make sure you join that. If you're not in it, then you're not cool. I'm just kidding. Anyway. Anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. Next game is Saturday nights. Playing the Spurs, I think.
Yep.
So hope to see you there.
Yep. Looking forward to that one. Anfernee Simons hits a buzzer beater to win. Good to see him hit his first career buzzer beater. Also, I just lost focus because I'm still looking at college basketball scores, and Indiana State plays the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy. Imagine being beaten by a bunch of pharmacists. Couldn't be me. Just kidding. They would probably destroy my rec league team. Anyway, we're out of here.
Wait, where did the guy from Indiana State go last year?
Who's that?
Um,
Larry Bird?
he had a Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Robbie Avila.
Yeah, something like that.
Wasn't he a senior?
I thought he stayed, and
Oh, no. Why is he here?
I thought he transferred.
He did transfer. Yeah, because he's a junior now. St. Louis.
What?
You remember St. Louis one tournament was a 4 seed. So
Yeah.
They used to have a program.
He lost his aura by going to St. Louis.
I know, yeah. His picture is still has some aura. His nickname is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, so yeah, where is he on your big board?
I don't know.
He's the type of guy that needs to go to like a big program and then do the same thing, and then maybe he'd show up in second rounds, but
18, 6, and 5.
yeah, and 38% from 3 as a 6'10" big. Like, I don't know, it's something. He would probably get destroyed defensively though, so yeah, that's the problem. He's a fun player though. Anyway, shout out to BetUS. Shout out to you guys if you watched the entire stream, 2-hour, 40-minute stream. Shout out to Jake for helping us out with social medias tonight. We're going to be doing more there. We got an announcement coming up on Saturday from new thing for members with draft content. And yeah, it was fun talking about prospects. It was fun recapping this game. It was a fun game to watch. It was a good night. Hopefully you guys have a good Friday coming up. Excited to catch you during the weekend. I'm excited to have some days off, man. I need it. So, looking forward to all that good stuff. Appreciate you guys for supporting the channel. Hit the like button on the way out of here. And we are out of here. Can I make this shot at the buzzer? Oh, by the way, I hit a game-winning 3 in rec today. This is the longest outro ever. Wide open 3, tie game, didn't shoot well all game, but I knew I was going to make it somehow. I don't know. I'm a clutch player, Eric. I'm a clutch player. And yeah, hit it with 1.1 seconds left. Ironically, that's half of another number. So, you know, it was a good night. It was a good night. Anyway, behind the head, I got to get better at this shot. All right, can I do it? It was closer than last time. All right, we'll take some progress. Anyway, we are out of here. Have a good rest of your nights until next time. As always, peace out. Go Blazers.